Chapter 245. The blind sword master remained silent. The atmosphere was extremely depressing. You said that Zhuge Yuanhong severed Danshan's right arm with one strike and severely injured the Golden Dan innate expert of Snow Hawk Hall? The blind sword master did not mention Ting Qingshan. Instead, he mentioned Zhuge Yuanhong. Yes. Gu Yong nodded. The blind sword master humphed and said, Zhuge Yuanhong is younger than you. Since you were young, Zhuge Yuanhong has been suppressing you. You are the lord of the island and the sovereign. However, you are the island lord of Qinghu Island. You are the 7th on the heavenly ranking, but Zhuge Yuanhong is the 6th on the heavenly ranking. Many years have passed, and the power of Zhuge Yuanhong's sword has reached such a level. It is obvious that his strength has improved greatly. According to my estimation, he is not far from achieving the harmonization of the spirit with the heavens and earth and the endless true origin. Once he achieves the harmonization of the spirit with the heavens and earth and the endless true origin, this Zhuge Yuanhong is an emptiness realm expert. Gu Yong, not only has the gap between you and him not shrunk, it has actually grown. Gu Yong lowered his head and did not dare to make a sound. One strike is so powerful. Zhuge Yuanhong should be able to rank 2nd or 3rd on the heavenly ranking. The blind sword master sighed and said, Also, did you notice Wu Ho's uniqueness this time? According to my estimation, he should have broken through the last step and reached the emptiness realm. In the eyes of the blind sword master, the emptiness realm was the power that could decide the world. The innate experts were the backup army of the emptiness realm. The more innate experts there were in a sect, the higher the possibility of an emptiness realm expert. Wu Ho's strength is terrifying. However, he has not reached the level where he can borrow the power of the heavens and earth, Gu Yong said. This Wu Ho? The blind sword master shook his head and said, I have never seen him. However, according to the information I heard, he should have reached the last step 30 years ago. With his talent, he should have reached the emptiness realm by now. Although the blind sword master was blind, he seemed to be able to see Gu Yong's expression. Yong do you have anything else to say? Gu Yong nodded and said, Yes, I want to abdicate. Let junior brother or eldest senior brother succeed the position of Island Lord. It's good to abdicate. The blind sword master nodded and said, Let's do it within these few days. Pick a good date. Abdicate and let your junior martial brother Tai Pan succeed as the island master. With his temperament, it would be beneficial for his cultivation if he were to succeed as the island master. Yes. Gu Yong then said nervously, Grand Master, that Ting Qingshan. Of course we have to deal with Ting Qingshan. However, this is a small matter. The blind sword master said indifferently, This time, we lost 12 law-enforcing elders, and Danshan lost an arm. Qinghu Island has suffered too great a loss. Yong after you abdicate, he would be a boatman of Green Lake. He works as a boatman during the day, and comes to my Sword Edge Mountain to cultivate at night. Boatman? Gu Yong was taken aback. Humph. The blind sword master snorted, and the entire heavens and earth rumbled. Yong you didn't become the island lord back then. Although it was also valiant and domineering. But not now. You've already been blinded by power. The position of the island lord is just an empty title. A true expert is able to reach the emptiness realm and use the power of the heavens and earth. Gu Yong recalled his experiences over the years and couldn't help but shudder. All these years, he had been thinking about how to make Qinghu Island stronger and how to destroy Tai Hall and the Guiyuan sect. His state of mind had completely changed. As for the Guiyuan sect's Zhuge Yuanhong, he rarely showed his face. Originally, the two of them had similar strength, but now the gap between them was huge. Gu Yong couldn't help but feel scared. If this continued for a few more decades, Zhuge Yuanhong would probably be able to kill him with one move. Yes. After abdicating, Yong is willing to be a boatman. Gu Yong said respectfully. He had already prepared to make a human skin mask and wear it. Then, he would become a boatman. Yes. The blind sword master said indifferently, being a boatman will change you from a high and mighty island lord to a lowly person. Maybe you will experience a lot. I know that with your personality, you will definitely disguise yourself. When the day comes when you can remove your disguise and become a boatman with your real face, you might have a chance to catch up to Zhuge Yuanhong. You might even reach the emptiness realm one day. Yes. Gu Yong answered. Letting Gu Yong use his real face to become a boatman? This was worse than killing him. Go. I will let your junior martial brother Tai Fan handle the matter of Ting Qingshan. The blind sword master said indifferently. Immediately Gu Yong left. On the 12th of November, the island lord of Qinghu Island, Gu Yong, abdicated. The 51-year-old Golden Dan innate expert, Tai Fan, became the new island lord of Qinghu Island. From this afternoon onwards, Gu Yong concealed his identity and put on a human skin mask. He became the most common boatman on Qinghu Island. Jiangning County City, Guiyuan sect. Inside Zhuge Yuanhong's study room, dressed in a white cloak, Zhuge Yuanhong was barefooted. He held a paintbrush in his hand and was drawing on a piece of paper hanging on the drawing board. His expression was very calm, and he looked at the painting in front of him silently. Occasionally, he would dip the paintbrush in the ink. His entire mind and spirit seemed to be completely immersed in the painting. This was a painting of a lone traveler in the snow. In the boundless snow, messy footprints and corpses could be seen. In the distance, a lone traveler was moving forward. A murderous aura emanated from the painting. Suddenly, he stopped drawing. Zhuge Yuanhong threw the paintbrush to the side and actually smiled. However, his smile was very sad. "Father!" A shout rang. Zhuge Yuanhong turned his head and saw that the person who came was his son, Zhuge Yun. "Father, senior martial brother Qingshan is not dead." "He is not dead," Zhuge Yun hastily said. Hearing this, Zhuge Yuanhong's eyes brightened. These days, Zhuge Yuanhong had been in a bad mood. His daughter died, and Ting Qingshan's life and death were unknown. Both of these made him feel very uncomfortable. However, as a sovereign, he couldn't make it too obvious. He could only swallow all of this in his stomach. "How did you know?" Zhuge Yuanhong hastily asked. "Here." Zhuge Yun handed over the rolled-up secret letter. "I met Second Martial Uncle just now. Second Martial Uncle told me about this and asked me to give this secret letter to Father. Actually, it's not really a secret. This is the reward document released by Qinghu Island. With this reward document, it at least means that senior martial brother Qingshan is not dead." When Zhuge Yuanhong saw this, he let out a sigh of relief and a rare smile appeared on his face. "Not dead? Good, good." Zhuge Yuanhong sighed and said, "Qinghu Island is really willing to pay. Once this reward document spreads, I'm afraid that most people in the world will want to kill Qingshan. However, with Qingshan's disguise technique, it will be very difficult for Qinghu Island to catch him. Qingshan is not dead. This really makes people happy," Zhuge Yuanhong praised. "Yes, my sister will be happy if she knows in the underworld." Zhuge Yun sighed. Hearing this, Zhuge Yuanhong regained his calmness and immediately said, "Let's go. Accompany me to see Qingshan's parents. These days, his parents have been worried about Qingshan." "Yes, Auntie was so worried that she fell sick." Zhuge Yun nodded and said, "Now that we are sure that Qingshan is not dead, Auntie's body will be better." Immediately, Zhuge Yuanhong brought his son and went to see Ting Yongfan and his wife. Because of the 2 cauldrons of the elixir of the North Sea, Zhuge Yuanhong felt even more grateful and guilty towards Ting Qingshan. Now that Ting Qingshan was not here, naturally, Zhuge Yuanhong wanted to make it up to Ting Qingshan's parents. Moreover, Zhuge Yun and Qingyu were probably getting married soon. In the future, they would be in-laws. It was natural that Zhuge Yuanhong cared about Ting Qingshan's parents. Shuyang County, Wu City. The caravan didn't travel fast, but Ting Qingshan wasn't in a hurry. Because he knew that if he traveled 1,000 li in a day, he would definitely attract a lot of attention. If Qinghu Island stations received the news and wanted to find him. If Qinghu Island stations in various places received the news and wanted to find him, that would be too dangerous. But now, although the speed was slow, it was safer. The caravan had also entered Wu City. It was a bumpy journey. My back hurts. It's been a bumpy ride. My back hurts. Old Zhang smacked his lips and said, "We've finally entered Wu City. Qinwei, we have to have a good rest in the city." "No problem, but don't drink too much." Ting Qingshan smiled and said, "The last time you drank with me, when we were in a hurry, you couldn't even ride a horse. You could only lie in the truck alone, and you were drunk. The few of us have spent a lot of effort to take care of a drunkard like you. You had fun drinking that day." Old Zhang smiled mischievously. "Also, Qinwei, your alcohol tolerance is too good. You and I drink cup after cup, and you don't drink any less than me. You don't seem to feel anything when I, Old Zhang, am drunk. Old Zhang, your alcohol tolerance is just so. Compared to Qinwei, you're still lacking," a bald, yellow-faced man said with a smile. "Baldi Jia, could it be that your alcohol tolerance is better than mine?" Old Zhang glared and said, "I'm not going to mess around with a madman like you." The bald, yellow-faced man laughed. These days, Ting Qingshan felt pretty good when he was with these merchants. These merchants traveled in the wind and rain, and they often faced the threat of bandits. Actually, it was a tough life. Don't look at how luxurious the life of a big merchant was. However, a big merchant started as a small merchant. Or perhaps it was the inheritance left behind by the hard work of the ancestors. "Everyone, let's disperse here. 2 hours later, we will gather at the West City Gate. If we are late, we can't wait anymore." A shout rang out. "All right. Brothers, let's go drink. Let's go. Old Three is treating us." The merchants and guards dispersed according to their groups. As for Ting Qingshan, he walked with Old Zhang and the other 5 people. "Look!" Blackie, who was beside Old Zhang, shouted, "In front. In front, there are so many people gathered there. What are they doing?" "Sigh. There are quite a lot of people. Let's go and take a look." Baldi Jia's eyes lit up. Roaming the world, it was best to be lively. Ting Qingshan also curiously approached the crowd. To disguise as a merchant, one must hypnotize oneself to be a merchant. Act like a merchant, don't be a maverick. This way, one would not be conspicuous. 1,000 taels of gold? 100,000 taels of gold? Brother, recite it for me. I only know 1,000 taels of gold. 100,000 taels of gold. Just as Ting Qingshan and the others approached, they discovered a group of people bustling and shouting. "Motherfucker! If I kill this Ting Qingshan, won't I be rich and powerful for generations to come?" An excited voice came from the crowd in front. Many people surrounded them. When Ting Qingshan heard the 3 words Ting Qingshan, he frowned. Immediately, together with the other merchants, he squeezed into the crowd, wanting to squeeze into the innermost part. P.S. Chapter 2 is here. Chapter 246. The 2 guards hired by Old Zhang looked after the horses and goods, while Ting Qingshan and the other 4 squeezed into the crowd. "Don't push! Push my ass!" Some of the people who were pushed away cursed. However, it was useless to curse as more people squeezed into the crowd. Ting Qingshan easily squeezed into the innermost area. Reward document. With a glance, Ting Qingshan saw an official document pasted on the wall. On both sides of the wall, there were 2 armored soldiers standing. It was obvious that they did not allow anyone to destroy this official document. Ting Qingshan looked carefully. Ting Qingshan, 17 years old, ranked first in the Hidden Dragon ranking. He was the commander of the Black Armored Corps of the Guiyuan sect and the law-enforcing elder of the Guiyuan sect. He betrayed the Guiyuan sect. This Ting Qingshan used a vicious technique and killed the law-enforcing elder of Qinghu Island. This person has the strength of the true Dan innate expert and is good at changing his appearance, even his height. He is good at spear art, fist art, and throwing knives and concealed weapons. He can use stones as concealed weapons to easily kill the experts of the Earth ranking. Now, he is running away. He should be carrying the reincarnation spear. The shaft of the reincarnation spear is silver and the spearhead is black with a red tassel. At the same time, he is carrying a huge black axe. His innate true origin is fiery red. This person is very vicious and cunning. If someone finds a mysterious expert with the reincarnation spear or this huge axe, as long as they can roughly determine that it is Ting Qingshan, they can notify any of the 8 supreme sects in the land of the 9 prefectures. Once Qinghu Island confirms that it is Ting Qingshan, the news will be true. The reward will be 1,000 taels of gold. If someone can capture or kill Ting Qingshan, Qinghu Island will reward 100,000 taels of gold, a heavenly level secret technique, and Fengyang City of Tianan County. As long as Qinghu Island exists, everything within 300 li of Fengyang City will belong to the person who kills Ting Qingshan. Seeing this news, Ting Qingshan gasped. Motherf *Ker, 100,000 taels of gold. Voices rose and fell from the side. I won't be able to spend it all even if I have 10 lifetimes. A heaven-level secret manual? And Fengyang City? As long as Qinghu Island exists, Fengyang City will forever belong to the person who killed Ting Qingshan? A local tyrant. If I know where this Ting Qingshan is, I will try my best to kill him. *CK, you still want to kill Ting Qingshan? I can destroy you with just a puff of air. The people around were all amazed and discussing. Ting Qingshan's face was filled with amazement, but his heart felt cold. Qinghu Island is ruthless. This is going to be troublesome. Ting Qingshan started to worry. 100,000 gold taels, a heaven-class manual. That might be very attractive. But against a true expert it was useless. The third of the last 3 rewards was a piece of Fengyang City, and as long as Qinghu Island existed, it would always be in Fengyang City. This is enough to attract some Golden Dan innate experts. Ting Qingshan knew very well that there were some powerful hidden experts in the land of the 9 prefectures. Because the land of the 9 prefectures was dominated by the 8 supreme sects, it was very difficult for ordinary Golden Dan innate experts to occupy a territory and establish a sect. Since Qinghu Island had made such a promise and announced it to the world, it must be true. To Qinghu Island, Yangzhou was as big as Yangzhou. Tianan County, one of the 13 counties of Yangzhou, Fengyang City, a city in Tianan County, was not very important to Qinghu Island. But, for those who wanted to establish their own sect, having a territory with a population of 2 to 3 million under their complete control, this was something they could only dream of. 100,000 taels of gold is enough to make many ordinary people go crazy looking for me. They used all kinds of insidious methods to deal with me. As for the heaven-grade secret manuals, they're tempted by the lack of good secret manuals to deal with me. As for Fengyang City, it's enough to attract some super experts to deal with me. Perhaps it wouldn't be able to attract all the idle super experts, but at least it can attract some of them. Ting Qingshan understood. Qinghu Island's bounty document was equivalent to asking everyone in the world to capture him. He also said that once he roughly determines that it's me, he'll be able to kill me. The other 7 major sects of the 9 regions might not be able to send any manpower to capture him, but it was impossible for them to send any of the 8 major sects in the 9 regions. However, it was still very normal to help Qinghu Island. This was because Ting Qingshan had deliberately lured out the flood dragon, causing all sides to suffer heavy losses. Those sects might not have completely blamed their losses on Ting Qingshan. But, at the very least, he didn't like Ting Qingshan. 100,000 taels of silver, a heaven-class secret manual, a city, and the surrounding area of 300 li, the bearded youth, Blackie, sighed with emotion. One day, if I were able to possess a city and become a local tyrant, I would be able to become a local tyrant. I'd rather live 30 years less. 100,000 gold taels, it was gold. How many wives can he marry with that? I want to cultivate inner strength, I want to kill Ting Qingshan. Blackie deliberately shouted. Blackie, stop dreaming. Old Zhang laughed out loud. Blackie, you haven't drunk yet. Ting Qingshan also laughed. Ting Qingshan also understood that Qing Hu Island hated him to the core. In other words, the 17-year-old Ting Qingshan had the ability to kill a true Dan innate expert with one move. This also worried them. Therefore, Qing Hu Island had invested so much. A few days later, in the evening, Ting Qingshan and the others arrived at the northernmost city of Shuyang County, Hua City. Hua City. Ting Qingshan looked at the familiar city gate and sighed. When he went to fight for the Black Fire Spirit Fruit, he had stayed in Hua City for a period of time. The scene of fighting for the Black Fire Spirit Fruit was still vivid in his mind. That time, he killed the innate expert Sima Qing. He also obtained the scales of the red-scaled beast. But now, after taking revenge on Qing Hu Island, he left the Guiyuan sect and began his journey alone. Tomorrow morning, same time. Gather at the West City Gate. Don't be late, everyone won't be waiting for you alone. Now everyone can disperse. Those who want to drink, gamble, or visit brothels, have fun. As the organizer shouted, the merchants and guards dispersed. Ting Qingshan and the others also walked together. Qin, let's spend the night in Hua City. We have nothing to do at night, so let's eat and drink to our heart's content. Blackie laughed. You have nothing to do at night, but I do. Old Zhang said with a smile. You big pervert, going to the brothels again? Blackie laughed and scolded. Old Zhang exchanged glances with Baldi Jia, who was beside him, and then teased, Blackie, you are still young. You are always thinking about your ahua. When your ahua becomes a faded old woman and you get tired of it, you will understand. These merchants who risked their lives rarely gambled, but mostly visited brothels. This was because these merchants understood that no matter how much money they made, once they entered the casino, they would have to give it to the casino. Qin Wei, are you coming with us tonight? Old Zhang said with a smile. It's rare that we can spend the night in the city. I have to go buy some goods tonight. Ting Qingshan said with a smile. Didn't Hua City just build a big tea house? Yes, buying goods is more important. We won't hold you back. When Ting Qingshan first met him, he mentioned that he was going to Yangzhou to buy goods and visit his friends. There were many places in Yangzhou that sold bricks of tea. In the north, these things were rare and precious, but in the south, they were much cheaper. He asked the 2 guards to watch the goods, gave them 2 pots of wine, and ordered some side dishes. After that, Ting Qingshan and Blackie ate in the restaurant. As for the other 3 merchants, they went to the brothels. In the restaurant there was a lot of discussion. Many of them were talking about Ting Qingshan. There are so many people talking about Ting Qingshan now. Blackie sighed. Everyone wants to get rich and own a city. Ting Qingshan said with a smile, however, I don't dare to think about killing Ting Qingshan. He can smash us into meat paste with one punch. It's better to do things honestly. Yes, it's useless to think about those empty things. Blackie nodded. Ting Qingshan didn't know how many times he had heard these discussions. In fact, hearing people all over the world talking about him, this kind of feeling was indeed quite strange. Qin, look, isn't that Ting Qingshan? Blackie suddenly touched Ting Qingshan's shoulder. Ting Qingshan? Ting Qingshan turned his head to look. He saw 3 people walk in from the entrance of the restaurant. The leader was a handsome young man. He wore a black robe and held a long silver spear with red tassels. The spearhead was black. The handsome young man with the spear strode into the restaurant, and the 2 guards behind him followed closely. "Waiter, food and wine," the handsome young man shouted. "That long spear looks like the reincarnation spear," Blackie said in a low voice. His age is also close to that of Ting Qingshan. Ting Qingshan couldn't help but laugh. There was actually someone pretending to be him. Even the spear was almost the same. "Young Master Wu San, do you think that you can pretend to be Ting Qingshan with a great spear?" At another table, a tall young man with 2 maids laughed and pointed at the young man with the spear. "Look at you. That Ting Qingshan is destined to be chased by the whole world. Yet you still dress like this, and you purposely got a reincarnation spear? Haha, I'm dying of laughter." The 2 maids at the side also covered their mouths and laughed. Bang! The young man with the spear suddenly slammed the table and glared at the tall young man. He pointed angrily at the tall young man and said, "Second Mei, shut up! You dare to look down on Ting Qingshan? This young master Second Mei." In the corner, a lone cultivator who was drinking sneered and said, "This Ting Qingshan reached the true Daninate realm at the age of 17. No one can compare to him in the past 1,000 years. It is said that Qing Hu Island lost more than 10 elders, including a golden Daninate elder. It is mainly because of Ting Qingshan. Because of this, Qing Hu Island promised such a high reward. You are just a hedonistic son of rich parents. Do you think you are qualified to look down on him?" The tall young man was extremely angry when he heard this. He humphed and said, "He is just a criminal wanted by the whole world. Second Mei, if you keep talking nonsense, be careful of my reincarnation spear. It will leave a few holes in your body," the young man with the spear said angrily. Immediately, the 2 guards behind him stood up. Second Mei looked at himself and saw that he only had 2 maids. It was a mistake to not bring any guards this time. "Qin, although I also want to kill Ting Qingshan and be the local tyrant, I don't want to kill him. However, I really admire him for being able to make Qing Hu Island promise so many rewards." Hazy sighed and said, "If I, Hazy, could also make the 8 supreme sects promise such rewards, my name will be known throughout the world. Even if I were to die tomorrow, I would be willing." When Ting Qingshan heard this, he could only bury his head in eating and drinking. He said, Ting Qingshan is indeed amazing. I admire him too. P.S. 3 chapters completed, asking for some recommendation votes. There aren't that many of them now. Chapter 247. In the restaurant, other people were talking loudly and even discussing Ting Qingshan, but Ting Qingshan himself was eating quickly. Not long after, Ting Qingshan placed his chopsticks on the table. "Hazy, I'm going to the tea house. You eat slowly." Ting Qingshan stood up. "The tea house will at least close at night." "Qin, why are you in such a hurry?" Hazy also stood up with a smile to send him off. Seeing Ting Qingshan carrying a box, he couldn't help but say attentively, "Qin, I'll help you look after this small box of clothes. Isn't it tiring to carry a box to the tea house?" Ting Qingshan smiled mysteriously. "I can't let this box leave my body. I won't be at ease if someone else carries it." Hazy immediately understood. It seemed that Ting Qingshan's money was hidden in the box. Ting Qingshan wore a felt hat and a thick cotton robe. A curved blade hung at his waist. His body was sturdy and his skin was dark. Looking at his dressing, one could tell that he was a resident of Yuyan. Yuyan and Yuyan were bitter cold places. The people were extremely fierce. Because of the long period of fighting and killing with the many tribes on the prairie, the fierce people were created. This caused the people of Yuyan to be very forthright. At the same time, if there was a disagreement, blood would be spilled. Therefore, in the land of the 9 regions, outsiders were generally not willing to provoke the people of Yuyan. This also caused some merchants, although they were not from Yuyan, to deliberately dress up as people of Yuyan. At least, it could scare people. Hoo hoo, the cold wind was blowing. But there were many people on the streets of Hua City. Ting Qingshan carried the box and walked leisurely. At this moment it was dinner time. There were many people who wanted to enter the restaurant to eat. Second sister, is that Ting Qingshan really as handsome as you said? Little sister, you don't believe me? Although I am an outer disciple. But that time, I also went to watch the public competition between Commander Ting and Commander Zhang Feng. Commander Ting, TSK, he is not ugly like some martial artist. On the contrary, he is very handsome. However, that spear technique was really... With a few consecutive spears, Commander Zhang Feng was thrown off the stage. In the Guiyuan sect, there were many female disciples who wanted to marry Commander Ting. However, it won't be our turn. A voice came from the side. Ting Qingshan looked to the side and saw 2 men and 2 women walking in the same direction as him. The one who spoke was a girl wearing a red fur coat. Is she from the Guiyuan sect? Xiaolian. That Ting Qingshan was now being hunted by the whole world like a stray dog. You're still thinking about that Ting Qingshan? Behind him, a young man in embroidered clothes smiled lightly. What are you talking about? The girl wearing the red fur coat frowned. Commander Ting is being pursued by the entire Qinghu Island. This is because many law-enforcing elders of Qinghu Island died in the hands of Commander Ting. Qinghu Island and the Guiyuan sect have always been enemies. By doing so, Commander Ting had made a great contribution. Moreover, in the whole world, how many people are worthy of Qinghu Island doing this? Young Master Hua, if you could achieve 10% of Commander Ting's achievements, I would even agree to be your concubine, let alone marry you. If you don't have the ability, don't talk about this. The other man with thick eyebrows and big eyes laughed. Brother Hua, you've suffered a setback, haven't you? Xiaolian and the others from the Guiyuan sect hate to hear bad things about Ting Qingshan. The young man in embroidered clothes could only smile bitterly and apologize. Xiaolian, I was wrong. Alright, 10%? I'll be satisfied if I can reach the innate realm in this life. Soon, the 2 men and 2 women entered a big restaurant. Ting Qingshan was moved when he heard this. At least the disciples of the Guiyuan sect did not treat me as a traitor. In this day and age, no one was stupid. From many things, everyone could guess many things. In the Guiyuan sect, not only was Ting Qingshan not a traitor, but many disciples of the Guiyuan sect admired and respected Ting Qingshan even more. After walking for a while, Ting Qingshan arrived at Qingyang Tea House. The 4 words, Qingyang Tea House, were hung in front of the entrance of the tea house. There were 4 guards standing at the entrance of the tea house. Ting Qingshan directly walked over. One of the guards stretched out his hand and stopped him. Our Qingyang Tea House does not sell tea. If you want to buy tea leaves, go to the tea shop in front. I am a merchant from Yenzhou. Ting Qingshan grinned, revealing his white teeth. The Yuyan accent made the guard put down his hand and smiled. So you are from Yenzhou, thousands of miles away. Our Qingyang Tea House has many good tea bricks. Please, please. The guard immediately led the way. Coming from the northernmost Yenzhou, it must be a big business. No one would travel 20,000 miles and only buy a small amount of goods. This kind of large tea house usually only did large-scale sales. Master Zhou, this is a merchant from Yenzhou. The guard led Ting Qingshan to a large hall. In the hall, there was an old man wearing a luxurious black fur coat coming over. He smiled and clasped his hands together. My surname is Zhou. I wonder who this brother is? Qin Wei. Ting Qingshan said with a Yuyan accent. In truth, the reason why Ting Qingshan could easily speak with a Yuyan accent was because this Yuyan accent, in reality, was similar to the accent of the northeast region of China. As an assassin, this accent had undergone training. So, right now, it was extremely easy for Ting Qingshan to disguise himself. Brother Qin, please sit. Master Zhou and Ting Qingshan sat down together. At this time, a servant came over with a tray, placing 2 cups of tea in front of Ting Qingshan and Master Zhou. Drink some tea, Master Zhou said with a faint smile. Ting Qingshan also picked it up, taking a small sip. The fragrance lingers on the lips, the color is bright red and yellow, this is a good tea. Brother Qin, you are also skilled in this, Master Zhou said with a smile. I'm just trying to make a living. If I don't know this, how can I sell? Master Zhou, I wonder what kind of tea bricks your Qingliang tea house has? Ting Qingshan said with a smile. Oh, I wonder, what grade does Brother Qin want? Master Zhou's expression became serious. Our Qingliang tea house mainly has 5 grades of tea brick. The price of each grade is very different. For example, the lowest grade is 5th grade, which is made from waste tea roots compressed at high temperatures. The tea bricks are very cheap, and some commoners often drink them. The higher the grade, the higher the price. For example, 3rd grade tea bricks, 1 jin of tea bricks costs around 5 or 6 taels of silver. For 2nd grade tea bricks, 1 jin of tea bricks costs around 12 or 13 taels of silver. Because of the different types, there are slight differences. As for the highest grade, 1st grade tea bricks, 1 jin of tea bricks costs tens of taels of silver. Hearing this, Ting Qingshan exclaimed in admiration, this 1st grade tea brick is worth more than silver. 1 jin of 1st grade tea bricks, for example, 50 taels of silver would be 5 jin of silver. The most expensive tea bricks cost nearly 100 taels of silver per jin. If it's some specially made tea leaves, they are even more expensive than gold. Master Zhou said with a smile, however, the quantity of those tea leaves is very small. Our tea house only gets a small amount every year. Most of the best tea leaves are reserved by some big shot. Ting Qingshan nodded with a smile. There are some extremely precious tea leaves that cost 10 taels of gold for just 1 tael of tea leaf. However, it is impossible to compress tea leaves of that grade into tea brick. 2nd grade tea bricks, Ting Qingshan said with a smile. In the prairie tribes, 2nd grade tea bricks are already very good for them. If there are too many goods, it will be troublesome to transport them. Buying cheap tea bricks would be troublesome to transport. Therefore, those traveling alone would usually buy the more expensive tea brick. Oh, Brother Qin, are you planning to sell them to the prairie? Master Zhou was somewhat surprised. That place is very chaotic. It's always a matter of putting your head on your belt to make money. Ting Qingshan said with a faint smile, how many 2nd grade tea bricks do you have? I have 3 kinds of 2nd grade tea bricks in stock. If you want to sell them to the prairie with the taste of the prairie people, I think you should choose the 2nd grade purple ivory tea brick. The prairie people love this kind of purple ivory tea brick the most. Master Zhou sincerely suggested. Ting Qingshan nodded. What price can you give me for this purple ivory tea brick? The kind that costs 1 jin. 1 jin, 13 taels of silver. Master Zhou said. Master Zhou, the ordinary tea shops outside are not much more expensive than what you said. Give me a more honest price. Ting Qingshan laughed. Moreover, I want to buy more goods. If there's money, we can all earn together. How much do you want to buy? Master Zhou asked. 800 bricks. Ting Qingshan said. Master Zhou's eyes lit up. This was a big business. Ordinary people could only earn 10 to 20 taels of silver a year. 1 jin of tea bricks cost 13 taels of silver. It was obvious that only the rich could enjoy it, and 800 revolutions was indeed a big business. What price do you want? Master Zhou asked. Ting Qingshan said very straightforwardly, 10 taels of silver for 1 brick. This is too low. Master Zhou hastily said. Ting Qingshan shook his head and said, Master Zhou, this is not low. Even if the locals get the goods here, I estimate that it will only be slightly more expensive than mine. But I am a second-grade good that buys 800 bricks in one go. I risked my life on this journey to the prairie. You should also help me a little. I also want to buy a scarlet flame horse from you for 1,000 taels of silver. Is that feasible? Master Zhou thought for a moment and then smiled. Brother Qin, all right. 800 bricks of second-grade goods and a scarlet flame horse. A total of 9,000 taels of silver. Actually, Master Zhou was a bit hesitant at the price of 10 taels of silver for one brick. But Ting Qingshan also bought a scarlet flame horse. From the scarlet flame horse, they could earn 200 to 300 taels of silver. Therefore, he agreed and nodded his head. Inside the storeroom, 2 large boxes were placed there with their lids open. Master Zhou, Ting Qingshan, and many other people from the tea house were here. Ting Qingshan opened the small box in his hand. Inside the box were some clothes and other ordinary items. Ting Qingshan took out some banknotes from the pocket of his clothes and some banknotes from his bosom. Master Zhou was not surprised at all. There were too many ways for a businessman to hide banknote. Put my suitcase on the side of the big box. Ting Qingshan placed the small box vertically on the side of the big box. All right, everyone put the tea bricks. In the big box on the left, put less tea bricks so that I can carry my suitcase in the future. In the big box on the right, put more tea brick. Yes. The people from the tea house immediately began to put the tea bricks into the big box. Ting Qingshan casually took out a brick, opened the wrapped paper, and cut out a bit of tea powder. This purple ivory tea brick is definitely a good tea. Master Zhou quickly helped to make the tea. After making a cup, Ting Qingshan tasted it and nodded his head in satisfaction. To disguise himself as a businessman, he naturally had to act like one from the beginning to the end. P.S. Chapter 1. Chapter 248. Every 10 tea bricks were weighed. Finally, 800 tea bricks were placed in 2 boxes. Because they could only store 800 tea bricks, the 2 boxes were not considered big. They did not even need a special steel frame. It was very simple to hang the 2 boxes on both sides of the scarlet flame horse. The scarlet flame horse was of the same level as the Gui Yuan Sect's Dark Veins horse. When the black armored army was hurrying along, the Dark Veins horse and the soldiers were all wearing heavy armor. Together, they weighed at least a few hundred jin. The Dark Veins horse continued to gallop. The Scarlet Flame horse, which cost almost 1,000 taels of silver, carried the 2 boxes easily. Master Zhou, there's no need to send me off. Ting Qingshan smiled and cupped his hands, then rode on the Scarlet Flame horse. The Scarlet Flame horse galloped away from Qingyang Tea House. The next morning, at the west gate of Hua City, the winter wind was biting cold, but all the merchants and guards were gathered here. Everyone is here. Let's go. With a loud shout, the hundreds of merchants continued to move forward. Ting Qingshan mixed with Old Zhang, He Zi, and the others, forming a group. Qin Wei, you didn't get a lot of tea bricks. Old Zhang sized up Ting Qingshan's 2 boxes. The boxes were not very big. What grade are they? 3rd grade? 2nd grade? Or 1st grade? 2nd grade. Ting Qingshan did not hide it. 2nd grade? He Zi, who was at the side, whispered, Qin, you are really ruthless. These 2 boxes must weigh almost 1,000 jin. That's almost 10,000 taels of silver. If we can transport them to Yenzhou, we can sell them for at least 100,000 taels of silver. TSK. This trip is equivalent to 20 trips for me. If we can earn this, Qin can probably enjoy a good life in the future. These merchants had very sharp eyes. They could roughly guess the weight of the boxes. Ting Qingshan rode on the Scarlet Flame horse and strolled. The speed of the merchant group was not a problem for the Scarlet Flame horse. If we follow the merchant group, it is slightly safer. However, he had to pay a lot of silver every time. To go back and forth, I would have to pay at least 20,000 taels of silver. Including the goods, it would be 30,000 taels of silver. It's not worth it for me to spend a year running back and forth. Ting Qingshan shook his head. Baldijia also laughed. If you want to earn money, you have to take risks. If this tea brick was sold to the Great Prairie, it would be a huge profit. Old Zhang sighed. But the Great Prairie is too chaotic. Moreover, if we encounter the grassland-mounted bandits, we won't be able to escape even if we want to. Ting Qingshan smiled. Along the way, they only chatted occasionally. Most of the time, he was resting to conserve his energy. Traveling for such a long time was very tiring. Ting Qingshan's ears twitched as he looked into the distance. There are bandits lying in ambush there? However, Ting Qingshan wasn't anxious at all because this wasn't the first time they had encountered bandits along the way. These merchants, who had been doing business for a long time, were experienced in dealing with such situations. Moments later, following a hearty laughter, a large number of mounted bandits with bows and machetes appeared. There were also many mounted bandits with long spears. They rushed to the official road and formed a neat formation, blocking the official road. Immediately, the group of merchants stopped. There are quite a lot of people, at least 1,000. Ting Qingshan scanned the area and made a judgment in his heart. F***ck, it's mounted bandits again. Blackie cursed in a low voice. If there weren't mounted bandits, I would earn a lot more every time. At this moment, the organizer of the caravan said in a clear voice, Second Leader Lon, we are also here to make a living. Please make way. These silver notes are for everyone to drink tea. At the same time, a guard beside him immediately took a stack of silver notes and ran towards the leader of the mounted bandits. The leader of the mounted bandits was a strong man with an iron ring on his nose. He took the stack of silver notes and flipped through them. Old Man Wu. The leader of the mounted bandits sneered. These days, everyone is having a hard time. Half a month ago, many of my brothers died. It takes money to take care of this entire family. So, the toll has increased. These 5,000 taels of silver notes. Give me another 3,000 taels of silver note. I will let you go. Immediately, the caravan was in an uproar. The money that was given was the money that all the merchants had gathered. It was difficult enough to hire a large number of guards and give money to the large groups of mounted bandits on the road. Second Leader Lon. The organizer shouted loudly, a small stream flows. If you collect too much, we won't be able to earn any profit from doing business. In the future, everyone will be afraid to take this road and will probably have to take a detour. How about this? Second Leader Lon, we will give you another 1,000 taels of silver. Everyone take a step back, okay? It's not the first or second time we've been friends. Immediately, the guards of the caravan became cautious. The leader of the mounted bandits squinted his eyes. Then he laughed coldly. Fine, I will give you face. Immediately, the caravan gave another 1,000 taels of silver note. The leader of the mounted bandits gave an order, and all the mounted bandits immediately gave way. Only then did the caravan continue to move forward. Increase the mother king increase. Baldi Jia cursed in a low voice. If they increase the price, they will force us to increase the price of our goods. Small businesses like us will have a harder time in the future. When we go back, we have to discuss the increase. If we don't increase the price, we won't be able to survive in the future. Old Zhang also said. The merchants were also divided into different levels. For example, the Yangzhou salt merchant, as long as one entered their circle. When doing business, the danger would be reduced to the minimum. With the protection of a large number of elite guards, most of the mounted bandits wouldn't dare to provoke them. As for Ting Qingshan's group, they were all idle merchants. The cost of transporting goods was high, and the profit was low. The sky was clear and boundless. Ting Qingshan was riding on the scarlet flame horse and advancing with the caravan. Now, the most important thing for me is to reach the realm of enlightenment, and then reach the returning to simplicity stage. As long as I can reach the Golden Dan innate realm, with my physical strength, I won't be afraid of the Golden Dan innate realm expert. Ting Qingshan's journey to the distant North Sea took a long time. Therefore, other than practicing the 3 postures in the dark room at night, Ting Qingshan's main cultivation method was to cultivate on the horse. The increase of the realm is actually the increase of the spirit. Ting Qingshan still remembered what Emperor Yu had said, because the increase of the spirit, one can naturally reach the realm of enlightenment and finally reach the returning to simplicity stage. As for the so-called methods of writing and drawing in the secret technique, they are all for the purpose of nourishing the spirit, a powerful spirit. Ting Qingshan was only 17 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the minute subtlety stage. Even his teacher, Zhuge Yuanhong, had reached the peak of the minute subtlety stage. The genius of that generation, Xiang Fanchen, had only reached the innate realm at the age of 16. Actually, in terms of the strength of the spirit, Ting Qingshan had definitely surpassed Xiang Fanchen at the age of 16. Ting Qingshan's inner strength hadn't reached the limit yet, so he hadn't broken through yet. Once he reached the emptiness Dan innate realm, he would have reached the peak of the minute subtlety stage. He was only one step away from the realm of enlightenment. The most difficult part of reaching the innate realm was the increase of the spirit. From birth until now, the speed at which Ting Qingshan's spirit improved was indeed terrifying. Ting Qingshan didn't think that the spirit of his previous life could be substituted into this life. In this life, he only had the memories of his previous life. The reason why my spirit improved so quickly should be related to the Xing-Yi martial art. Ting Qingshan judged in his heart, no matter if it's drawing, writing or other methods, they are all used to train the mind and make the mind fuse with the heavens and the earth. This way, the spirit can slowly improve. As for ordinary people, not only does the spirit not improve, it is constantly consumed. Every time I practice the 3 postures, I am immersed in the feeling of yin and yang complementing each other and becoming one. It is obvious that reaching the Grandmaster realm of internal martial arts and comprehending the 3 postures will greatly improve the spirit. Because he realized this, Ting Qingshan practiced the 3 postures every night. As for sitting and resting, he only needed to rest for 4 to 6 hours. Drawing, writing, and wandering the earth, mountains, and rivers can strengthen the spirit. It is because when drawing and writing reach a high level, one can fully immerse himself in it. The mind is in harmony with the heavens and the earth. Traveling to the north and south, looking at the mountains and rivers can also cause one's mind to palpitate and merge with the heavens and the earth. To be more precise, when drawing, writing, playing the zither, singing, etc., reaches a high level, one should be in harmony with the heavens and the earth, making the spirit stronger and stronger. Then, when riding a horse reaches a high level, it can also make the spirit stronger. From Ting Qingshan's point of view, all methods were interlinked. Making the spirit stronger did not depend on the method, but on whether it was suitable or not. For example, even if he told Zhuge Yuanhong, Gu Yong, and other Golden Dan innate experts about the 3 postures, these people knew nothing about internal martial arts. The 3 postures seemed simple, but these experts would not be able to understand the concept contained within it. As for drawing, Zhuge Yuanhong could rely on it to strengthen the spirit. For Zhuge Yuanhong, this was a good method. However, for Ting Qingshan, drawing was useless. Therefore, there was no best method to strengthen the spirit, only the most suitable method. The 3 postures was very suitable for Ting Qingshan. And now, Ting Qingshan was also diligently studying how to cultivate while riding a horse. Ever since he joined this caravan, Ting Qingshan had been constantly pondering. Until now, he had been pondering for half a month. Riding a horse, and the spirit needs to merge with the heavens and the earth. When Ting Qingshan rode on the horse, it could be said that he and the horse were one. All the muscles in his body were in harmony with the horse's movements, appearing perfect. However, even so, Ting Qingshan could only occasionally capture the concept. Drip, drip. The scarlet flame horse trotted. Ting Qingshan sat on the horse, and the man and the horse seemed to be one. Corpses! So many corpses! Many people have died. The whole caravan suddenly became noisy. Qin, hurry up. Let's go and see what happened. Hazy shouted. Ting Qingshan, who was in the state of one with the horse, responded. His leg muscles vibrated, and the scarlet flame horse immediately sped up. What did I do just now? Ting Qingshan suddenly woke up. Yes, this is the feeling. This is the feeling. Ting Qingshan's face revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. After spending nearly half a month, he finally touched the edge of cultivating while riding a horse with the control of his body as a grandmaster of the internal martial arts and maintaining the state of one with the horse for a long time. P.S. Chapter 2. Chapter 249. On the official road, the people of the caravan looked at the corpses and were all amazed. Looking at their attire, these people are all mounted gangsters. All of them were killed with one strike. The experienced guards looked at the corpses and said to the surrounding merchants, 37 mounted gangsters were all killed with one strike. Look at the marks on the field and the saber technique. The killer should be one person. Ting Qingshan also looked at the corpses and agreed with the guard beside him. It's good that they died. These mounted gangsters are lazy and always want to rob and plunder. They must have met a tough opponent. Hazy scolded. Merchants and mounted gangsters were always on opposite sides. In the eyes of bandits and mounted gangsters, merchants were fat sheep. This person has such a powerful saber technique. He fought against 37 gangsters alone and killed them with one strike. I'm afraid he has the strength of the earth ranking. It would be great if he could be our guard. Old Zhang sighed. A shout came from the front, everyone, hurry up! The merchants who wanted to join in the fun quickly mounted their horses and continued to move forward. As the caravan moved forward, Ting Qingshan rode on the scarlet flame horse and recalled the feeling from before. In the past, if I wanted the horse to speed up, I would have to hit its abdomen. But that feeling just now, it was as if the scarlet flame horse was a part of my body. For example, if a person wanted to walk, they would naturally transfer a force from their waist to their thighs. It was very natural. Just now, Ting Qingshan naturally transferred the force from his leg muscles into the scarlet flame horse, causing it to speed up. This is the feeling I want. The so-called unity of man and horse was to control the horse perfectly. But I am going to train immediately, not for control. Instead, I want the warhorse to become a part of my body. I can control it naturally with just a thought. It is a conditioned reflex. Ting Qingshan was immersed in how to control the warhorse according to his will. As time passed, Ting Qingshan's technique was also improving. Ting Qingshan gradually entered an unfathomable state. It was as if he had become a horse and was constantly moving forward. He could feel the forelegs and even the surrounding heaven and earth along the foreleg. Ting Qingshan was mesmerized by the realm of harmonization. This feeling was similar to when he practiced the three postures. Although it was not as obvious as the three postures, this state of immersion was no longer a coincidence. Stop! A loud shout rang out. Immediately, all the horses in the caravan stopped one by one. Ting Qingshan naturally stopped, then opened his eyes and revealed a smile on his face. He murmured in a low voice, "Technique has entered the Tao. The skill had entered the Tao. So that's how it is. I've long touched the Tao, but I don't know anything about it." Ting Qingshan finally understood why drawing, writing, and practicing the three postures could harmonize the soul with the nature of the world. The essence was the advancement of skills into the Tao. When one skill reached the pinnacle, for example, the historical story of Butcher Ding dismembering a cow in his previous life. In Butcher Ding's eyes, the cow was no longer a cow, but a skeleton and many other body parts. He could easily dismember a cow completely. He didn't need to think about how much strength he should use, where he should start, and so on. There was no need for any of them, because everything was going to happen naturally, and success would follow the natural course. In Butcher Ding's hands, dismembering a cow was already the Tao. If one's skill continued to improve, then it would be the Tao. The skill had advanced to the Tao. At the very least, one had to have a good foundation in painting. Later on, one's skill would become higher and higher. In the end, one didn't even need to pay attention to brush, paper, and ink. One only needed to immerse one's heart and mind, and one could rely on painting to express the anger, joy, or sorrow in one's heart through the brush. At this level, it was already the Tao. It was the same for Ting Qingshan. From the 12 forms of Xing Yi to the 5 elemental boxing, and then to the 3 postures, the 3 postures were actually very simple, but they contained the Tao. The 12 forms of Xing Yi and the 5 elemental boxing were training skills. When reached the pinnacle, the 5 elemental boxing could also contain the Tao. As for the 3 postures, it was the origin of Xing Yi. It contained the Tao of Xing Yi. It was the same for riding a horse. A grandmaster of internal martial arts could control the muscles of their body to perfection, and they could easily become one with the horse when riding a horse. However, this was intentional. Whether it was dismembering an ox, drawing, or practicing the 3 postures, once intentional, it would be inferior. This was because Ting Qingshan already had the state. Once he comprehended it, it would be natural for him to ride a horse. This was the principle of all techniques being interlinked. Fortunately, I have exquisite control over every part of my muscles, tendons, and skin. Therefore, it is easy for me to reach the pinnacle in the art of riding a horse. As long as I can comprehend the last level, I can become one with the heavens and the earth. Ting Qingshan was delighted. If that's the case, I can train on the horse during the day and practice the 3 postures at night. This way, my spirit will improve at an astonishing speed. Ting Qingshan was looking forward to it. Ting Qingshan withdrew his thoughts and looked ahead. On the side of the official road, there was a family of 3. A barbarian with long hair, who was barefoot, wore tattered clothes, and had a saber hanging on his waist. There was also a thin woman and a dirty boy who were also wearing tattered clothes. Be a guard? Not everyone can be a guard of our caravan. A voice came from the front. The barbarian's eyes were like lightning as he said in a deep voice, "I will be your guard for 10 taels of silver a day." 10 taels of silver a day? Who do you think you are? Many people laughed. 10 taels of silver. An ordinary mountain person can only earn this much in a year. You can earn this much in a day? Do you think you are an expert of the earth ranking? Ting Qingshan looked at the barbarian with interest. According to Ting Qingshan, this barbarian should be an expert. However, why was he in such a miserable state? It was fine if he was in a miserable state. Even his wife and son were in such a miserable state. You guys. The barbarian pointed at the guards of the caravan with one finger. All of the guards, if one of you can take 3 moves from me, I will leave. His words were too arrogant. This caused a commotion among the guards. In this caravan of a few hundred people, most of the guards were guards. Other than the guards hired by some of the merchants, there was also a large group of guards hired by the entire caravan. 3 moves? This is big talk. All of them laughed. Although the guards were laughing, none of them stepped forward. This was because everyone knew that in this land of the 9 prefectures, there might be a powerful figure. Don't stick your neck out. The consequences of sticking your neck out would not be good. The barbarian sneered and grabbed the hilt of his saber with his right hand. Clang! All the guards could barely see a ray of black light. When the black light dissipated, the barbarian's saber was already sheathed. Heavens! The guards looked at the ground in shock. They saw a 6 to 7 zhang long gully on the ground. The saber was not even 4 feet long, but the gully it created was 6 to 7 zhang long. Obviously, the speed of the saber was too fast. It even created a blade of air that tore the ground apart. Expert. The guards immediately understood that they had met a powerful expert. 10 taels of silver a day. From today onwards, you will be a guard of our caravan. Immediately, the organizer shouted, 10 taels of silver a day for such an expert? Even 100 taels of silver would be difficult to hire. Yes. The barbarian looked around and quickly saw a handcart that was being pulled by horses beside Ting Qingshan. He immediately carried the child and ran to the handcart and placed the child on it. The woman in tattered clothes also ran over and sat on the handcart. Then, the barbarian rode on the horse. The caravan set off again. He is an expert. Where did such a person come from? In terms of saber skills, he is not inferior to the Thunder God saber, Wu Yu, that I met in the past. Ting Qingshan thought to himself. The others didn't see it clearly, but Ting Qingshan saw it clearly. This barbarian was a powerful figure. Previously, I found a pile of corpses on the road. Were they killed by this barbarian? Ting Qingshan thought to himself. Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. Although the guards were afraid of this barbarian, Ting Qingshan was an expert that could kill a true Dan innate expert with one move. This barbarian only aroused a bit of his interest. Ting Qingshan once again immersed himself in the feeling of riding the horse. The feeling of being one with the horse made Ting Qingshan's soul seem to be cheering. Time passed day by day. In Yangzhou, at Green Lake. In the evening, the cold wind whistled and the waves on the Green Lake surged. However, there was still a boat moving forward through the waves. Danshan, with your talent, you will definitely become the backbone of Qinghu Island in the future. But why did you choose to be stationed in Yuzhou and become a protector of a city? An old man and a black-cloaked young man were sitting cross-legged opposite each other. This black-cloaked young man was Yen Danshan, who was saved by Ting Qingshan in the past. The old man looked at the disciple in front of him and sighed. Ever since this disciple's family was destroyed, his temperament changed greatly. He spent all his time on cultivation. Moreover, his talent was extremely high. In the past, he wasn't serious and wanted to take over his family's business. But now, he devoted himself to cultivation, and his speed of improvement was astonishing. In addition to his expressionless face and the murderous aura hidden between his brows, many disciples of the same generation were slightly afraid of this Yen Danshan. Teacher, the cultivation of inner strength needs time. It can't be taken lightly. There is no difference between cultivating in Qinghu Island and cultivating in Yuzhou City. Plus, I feel that my sword art has reached a bottleneck. It's better to go out and explore. Yen Danshan said coldly. Yes. The old man nodded and said, remember, don't slack off in your cultivation. Also, go to Yuzhou and become a protector of the garrison, managing information and so on. There's nothing important recently. Only the matter of killing Ting Qingshan was more important. If Ting Qingshan escapes to Yuzhou, you will have to waste time. However, in the land of the 9 prefectures, the possibility of Ting Qingshan escaping to Yuzhou is not high. Just focus on your cultivation. Yes. Yen Danshan nodded. Yes, Danshan, the island has lost many innate experts. Your sword art has reached a very high level. Work hard and reach the innate realm before the age of 30. The old man said. Yes, teacher. Yen Danshan was always expressionless. The boat gradually sailed away in the dark lake. Yen Danshan also left Qinghu Island and headed to the center of the land of the 9 prefectures, Yuzhou. P.S. 3 chapters finished. Chapter 250. In Qingzhou, after the heavy snow, the world was covered in silver. On a barren land by the side of the official road, Ting Qingshan's caravan was resting. As there were no wilderness inns nearby, they could only drink water and eat buns. Ha! Ha! A boy was holding a wooden stick as he constantly swung it forward. Ting Qingshan, old Zhang, and the others were by the side. They leaned against a handcart and ate buns. At the same time, they smiled as they watched the boy practice. This child, little he, is really serious. Old Zhang sighed. Ting Qingshan smiled and shouted, Little he, stop practicing. Rest for a while. Come, have some buns. I have salted vegetables here. Master told me to practice 1,000 times. If I don't practice now, I won't have time to sleep at night. The boy sniffed. His nose was red from the cold. He didn't listen to Ting Qingshan and company. His mother watched from the side but didn't say a word. After a long time, he couldn't swing the wooden stick anymore. Only then did he stop. Come, here. Sit down. His mother immediately helped to rub his son's arms. At that moment, the savage, who had changed into a set of martial arts attire, walked over. Master. The boy immediately stood up. Yes, eat this drumstick. It was just roasted and is still warm. The savage handed a large drumstick to the boy. Thank you, master, the boy said in pleasant surprise. He took the drumstick and took 2 big bites. Mother, eat. The boy ate a small portion and handed it to his mother. Ting Qingshan watched this scene with a smile. The savage, the woman, and the child had joined the caravan for 10 days. During these 10 days, Ting Qingshan and company learned of the relationship between the three. The boy's name was Tan He. As for the woman, Ting Qingshan and company called her Madame Tan. As for the savage, his name was Ma Jinshao. The child named Tan He and his mother were running for their lives. Fortunately, they encountered the expert Ma Jinshao and survived. Brother Ma, come over and drink a few mouthfuls of wine to warm yourself up, old Zhang shouted. Ma Jinshao also walked over with a smile and took the wine bag that old Zhang threw over. He drank 2 mouthfuls and said, the wine is not bad. It's comfortable. Brother Ma, I still don't understand. A few days ago, little he wanted to be your disciple, but you refused. Yesterday, the child knelt for an entire night in the middle of winter, and it was snowing heavily the whole night. My heart ached when I saw it. That's why you agreed to it. It's not that I want to say this, but you're torturing this child. Old Zhang sighed. The bearded young man, He said, Old Zhang, you don't understand. When an expert accepts a disciple, he must test his disciple well. Ma Jinshao shook his head and said, No, actually, I didn't want to accept disciples. Ting Qingshan also looked at Ma Jinshao. But I've thought it through. Moreover, I like little he. Ma Jinshao glanced at the boy who was with his mother. Xiao he is also filial to his mother. Actually, he's only 7 or 8 years old. His family was ruined. He was still able to protect his mother when he was faced with robbers. After I saved him, he insisted on being my disciple. Just this willpower alone is enough for him to be my disciple. Ma Jinshao looked at Tan He's gaze. It was a little misty, as if he was thinking about something else. This is a person with a story. After 10 days of contact, Ting Qingshan had some understanding of Ma Jinshao. At least, from Ting Qingshan's point of view, Ma Jinshao's ability to be ranked in the top 10 of the earthly ranking was definitely not a problem. Ting Qingshan understood, those who could be ranked in the top 10 of the earthly ranking all had extremely high willpower and talent. The reason why they were unable to step into the innate realm. It was because they didn't know anything about nourishing the spirit. For example, practicing swordsmanship all day long was not beneficial to the spirit. Instead, it would consume the spirit of the human body. It was not easy for the spirit to be strong enough to reach the threshold of the innate realm. In Qingzhou, sometimes they headed north, sometimes they headed northwest. A few more days passed. The sky was azure blue and as clean as a porcelain plate. On the long official road, a caravan was moving forward. The scarlet flame horse was strolling leisurely. Ting Qingshan had a smile on his face as he sat on the horse leisurely. However, no one knew that Ting Qingshan was actually cultivating on the horse. Because he was immersed in that state, Ting Qingshan was happy and a smile would naturally appear on his face. Uncle Qin. Uncle Qin. Suddenly, a tender voice came from the side. Ting Qingshan turned his head and saw Tan He sitting on the handcart. Little He, what's the matter? Ting Qingshan smiled. Uncle, why didn't you say anything along the way? We are about to reach the Huyue County city. Everyone is very happy, Tan He said. It's very tiring to travel. Your Uncle Qin doesn't talk much. I'm just resting. Ting Qingshan smiled as he looked to the north. In the distance, he could vaguely see the city wall that connected the north and the south. The city wall was tens of li wide, and people couldn't see the end of it. It was as if a terrifying monster was entrenched there. Tan He nodded in understanding. Qin. The bearded young man He Zi shouted. The Huyue County city is in front. It is also the last stop of our caravan. When we reach the county city, we have to split up. Qin, we have been traveling for a month. I'm afraid it will be difficult to see Qin again. Yes, Qin Wei wants to return to his hometown in Yanzhou. We are in Qingzhou. Qin Wei, we brothers must drink to our heart's content at noon today, old Zhang shouted. All right, today, we won't go back until we are drunk. Ting Qingshan had built a deep friendship with these merchants in the past month. It would be difficult to see them again in the future. Originally, there were 5 merchants in Ting Qingshan's group. 2 of them left the caravan when they reached another city in Qingzhou. Old Zhang and He Zi were now living in the Huyue County city. Only then did they reach the last stop. At least half of the merchants in the caravan were gone. Not long after, Ting Qingshan and the others arrived at the southern gate of Huyue County city. Ting Qingshan had actually noticed from afar that the walls of Huyue County city were filled with a large number of guards, and the end of the city was endless. Even at the city gate, over 100 guards were gathered, checking every person entering the city. Why are they checking so strictly? Ting Qingshan was puzzled. They can't be looking for me, right? It was in Yangzhou, the territory of Qinghu Island. Ting Qingshan didn't realize that the city gate was so strictly checked. Innate experts could easily jump over the city wall and escape. Therefore, checking at the city gate was useless. Why are there so many guards at the city gate? He Zi muttered. The other cities didn't look like this. I'm afraid something happened. Old Zhang frowned. Ting Qingshan and the others lined up and entered the city gate. Old He. Brother Yen, these are all idle merchants who went out to do business. Everyone came all the way from Yangzhou, and it's been 2 to 3 months. They're extremely tired. There's no need to check further. The organizer of the caravan said very casually. The guard officer waved his hand at the guards and said, Brothers, hurry up. Immediately, the speed of entering the city increased. When it came to Ting Qingshan and the others, the guards only took a few glances and let Ting Qingshan and the others in. Everyone, our He Trading Company went to Yangzhou this time, and the round trip was a few thousand li. Everyone came back safe and sound. This is a happy occasion. Haha. I believe that many people will celebrate today. Let's disperse here. The organizer shouted loudly. Immediately, a wave of hearty laughter sounded, and many people parted one by one. Brother Ma. Old Zhang shouted enthusiastically. Bring the mother and son, you probably need to find a place to rest. Don't worry, I'm very familiar with this county city, so there's no need to hurry. Come, let's go eat lunch first. After eating, I'll arrange a place for you to sleep. Then I'll have to trouble you, old Zhang. Ma Jinshao smiled and said. Old Zhang looked at Ting Qingshan and said, Qin Wei, let's go. Go to your hometown, Yanzhou. Are you going to leave today? Come with us to eat lunch. Have a good rest, and we'll talk about other things tomorrow. All right. Ting Qingshan also laughed. Immediately, under the guidance of Old Zhang and He Zi, they came to a restaurant with a good environment. Old Zhang treated them and chose a private room on the second floor. Including the child Tan He, the 6 of them sat around. Old Zhang ordered some dishes with familiarity, and he even praised that these were the famous dishes of Huiyue County. All right. This wine, a jug is too slow, give us a jug. We must drink to our heart's content today. All right, Master Zhang, please wait for a moment, the dishes will be served soon. The waiter was obviously very familiar with Old Zhang. Soon, the dishes were served. Everyone ate comfortably and drank happily. Of course, they were happy to be able to come back from thousands of miles away safely. That He Zi also talked excitedly about his wife and son. Old Zhang also seemed very proud as he talked about his children. Ting Qingshan looked through the window and saw the heavy traffic on the street. It's already the 12th lunar month. In a few days, it will be the annual sacrifice. I wonder how father and mother are doing now. In such an atmosphere, Ting Qingshan started to miss his father and mother. He shook his head to himself. The current me will only bring disaster to father and mother if I stay by their side. Without any benefits, let's cultivate quietly. With my current speed, I will definitely reach the Golden Dan innate realm within 10 years. Ting Qingshan was very confident. He comprehended the secrets of nourishing and strengthening the spirit. In addition, he cultivated on horseback during the day and practiced the 3 postures at night. Ting Qingshan's spirit was improving at an astonishing speed. After only half a month of comprehending, Ting Qingshan could clearly feel that his spirit had become much stronger. Within 2 years, I will reach the true Dan innate realm. Within 10 years, I will reach the Golden Dan innate realm. With the strength of my body and the inner strength, I will be invincible. At the very least, I will be invincible under the emptiness realm. Ting Qingshan was very confident. If other people knew about this, they would probably be shocked. Zhuge Yuanhong only reached the innate realm when he was 30. However, Ting Qingshan said that he would reach the Golden Dan innate realm before the age of 30. Qin Wei, what are you thinking about? Come, let's have a drink. Old Zhang put his hand on Ting Qingshan's shoulder and said. As soon as he finished speaking, boom, a strong explosion came from afar. Ting Qingshan could even clearly feel the entire restaurant tremble slightly. This explosion is very far away. It should be 10 li away. But even here, it still has such power. Ting Qingshan was so shocked that he couldn't help but stand up. What happened? The other people at the table also ran to the window and looked outside. Chapter 251. What's going on? Why is there such a big commotion? Old Zhang looked out of the window, puzzled. On the street below the restaurant, many pedestrians were also discussing spiritedly. Judging from the sound, it should be coming from the north. Moreover, it should be dozens of miles away. Ma Jinxiao said. Ting Qingshan glanced at him and said, This Ma Jinxiao's 6 senses are very sharp, and he can actually discern so clearly. It's extremely rare among Hotian experts. Generally, if the sound of an explosion was too far away, it would be very difficult to detect it. Then, when it was transmitted far away, it would produce many echoes, making it difficult for people to determine the direction. However, that sound should have come from high up in the sky, as there weren't many echoes. Only then did Ma Jinxiao recognize it. 10 kilometers to the north? He Zi cried out in surprise. Isn't that Xiao Yao Mountain? Xiao Yao Mountain is a few miles north of the city. It is indeed a few dozen miles away from our city center. However, that was the base of Xiao Yao Palace. Who dares to slap a tiger's butt and provoke Xiao Yao Palace? Old Zhang cried out in surprise. Ma Jinxiao narrowed his eyes and sneered. Xiao Yao Palace is one of the 8 supreme sects in the land of the 9 prefectures. They control hundreds of millions of people. Their army of ordinary warriors number nearly 1 million, and their elite army, the Immortal Guards, number 80,000. Who dares to provoke them? However, Ting Qingshan noticed. There was something wrong with Ma Jinxiao's tone. No one dares to offend Xiao Yao Palace. But that explosion just now. Old Zhang shook his head in confusion. Ting Qingshan was suspicious, such a strong explosion. Even a Golden Dan innate expert would not be able to do this unless tens of thousands of people made a loud noise at the same time. Another possibility is that an emptiness realm expert could make such a noise. Ting Qingshan knew very well how terrifying an emptiness realm expert was. Don't worry about that. Let's eat and drink first. Old Zhang greeted with a smile. The few of them returned to the table. Only Xiao He, who was extremely curious, leaned against the window and looked outside. Suddenly, the door to the private room opened, and the waiter brought in a large pot of steaming eel soup. Old Master Zhang, the soup is here. Your dishes are all here. Do you want anything else? The waiter asked respectfully. Old Zhang frowned and said, Waiter, let me ask you, what was that explosion just now? It seemed to have exploded quite a distance away. But here I can feel the tremors. Old Master Zhang, have you just returned to the county city for business? The waiter laughed. Yes. Old Zhang was surprised. You know about it? Of course I know. Now I'm afraid there's no one in our county city who doesn't know about this. The waiter's eyes lit up with excitement. Old Zhang immediately handed over a stool. Sit down and tell me what exactly happened. The others all pricked up their ears and listened carefully. Ting Qingshan also looked at the waiter. If you want to talk about this explosion, you have to start from half a month ago. The waiter hastily said, That day at noon I was busy greeting customers. But suddenly there was a loud boom, just like today. It caused the entire restaurant to tremble slightly. At that time, we were busy with business and didn't pay much attention. I thought it had exploded somewhere around here. But at night, when I talked to other familiar people, I found out. The explosion at noon was heard by everyone in the county capital. At that time, I thought that everyone in the city had heard it. Where did it explode? Later on, the news came from Xiao Yao Mountain. The villagers at the foot of Xiao Yao Mountain saw with their own eyes a lightning bolt as thick as a waist struck Xiao Yao Mountain. When Ting Qingshan heard this, he was secretly shocked. Old Zhang and the others exclaimed in surprise. However, Ting Qingshan didn't really believe in the so-called waist thickness. The lightning bolt struck from afar. If one felt that it was waist thickness, the actual thickness would be even thicker if one looked carefully in front of them. Did Xiao Yao Palace offend the heavens? The heavens struck it? Old Zhang exclaimed in surprise. Struck by lightning? Damn it! How big was the lightning bolt? We heard it from so far away. Hazy also exclaimed. Tan He, who was beside him, widened his eyes in surprise. The waiter hastily said, Old Master Zhang, please listen to me. About 10 days had passed since the explosion. At noon again, there was another boom. This time, many of the mountain people at the foot of Xiao Yao Mountain were watching carefully. Some people only saw a thick lightning bolt strike the mountain. Many people of Xiao Yao Palace died. However, some people also saw the one who released the lightning bolt was a terrifying monster. Do you know what this monster is? Ting Qingshan and the others stared at the waiter. The waiter then said proudly, This monster is a godly eagle. Godly eagle. When old Zhang and the others heard this, they were dumbfounded. The godly eagle that released lightning? However, Ting Qingshan knew that this wasn't strange. There were many demonic beasts in the world. There were demonic beasts that could spit fire, cold air, venom, and even lightning bolt. However, the power wasn't so exaggerated. According to the people who saw it, the godly eagle was extremely high up in the cloud. He could see it with his naked eyes. He estimated that, if the godly eagle landed on the ground, it would at least be as big as a house. The waiter exclaimed, "Do you think that the godly eagle that was as big as a house and could spit out such a thick lightning bolt is a monster?" The waiter was extremely excited as he spoke. He was just a waiter with a low status. Being able to speak wantonly in front of a group of rich merchants would give him the right to boast in the future. Why did that godly eagle specifically attack Xiao Yao Palace? Old Zhang asked in surprise. Old Zhang, from what I see, Xiao Yao Palace must have committed a sin, provoking the heavens to send this godly eagle to strike it with lightning. Hazy laughed mischievously. Ordinary merchants like them knew very little about demonic beasts. They only knew that there were some powerful monsters and demonic beasts on this land. However, one that could spit lightning bolts and strike Xiao Yao Palace. They couldn't even imagine it. This is strange. Old Zhang muttered. Xiao Yao Palace is one of the 8 supreme sections. They have many experts and powerful innate experts. Why don't those innate experts go and kill that godly eagle? Are they just going to let that godly eagle strike Xiao Yao Palace? These ordinary people only knew that the legendary innate experts were the most powerful among the warriors. They thought that innate experts could also deal with demonic beasts of that level. However, Ting Qingshan knew clearly, a demonic beast that could spit out such powerful lightning bolts was probably comparable to the second terrifying flood dragon with dragon claws and dragon whiskers that Ting Qingshan saw in the frost jade pool. Old Master Zhang, I heard that the godly eagle's lightning bolts killed many people of Xiao Yao Palace. It forced the entire Xiao Yao Palace to move many people to the Huyue County city. The waiter said, "Many people saw with their own eyes that a large number of people went down Xiao Yao Mountain and entered our county city. Fortunately, they moved quickly. Otherwise, the godly eagle's lightning bolts would have killed even more people. This is the 3rd time." Old Zhang and the others were very excited when they heard this. The 8 supreme sects were existences that were high above the masses. These ordinary people were very excited to see these sects suffer losses. There must be an emptiness realm expert in Xiao Yao Palace. Ting Qingshan pondered, however, that emptiness realm expert didn't kill that godly eagle. From the beginning until now, the godly eagle had spat out lightning 3 times and attacked Xiao Yao Palace. It was obvious that the emptiness realm expert of Xiao Yao Palace would not be able to defeat the godly eagle. Or you don't have the ability to kill it. An emptiness realm demonic beast is very intelligent. Why did this godly eagle release thunderbolts to attack Xiao Yao Palace? Ting Qingshan was puzzled. According to Ting Qingshan's knowledge, according to the records of demonic beasts, emptiness realm demonic beasts were also known as godly beasts. In the land of the 9 prefectures, the most famous ones were the 4 divine beasts. 4 emptiness realm demonic beasts. These 4 divine beasts were located in Rongzhou, Yuzhou, Yongzhou, Qinling Mountains, and the Northern Prairie. The fame of the 4 great divine beasts was probably known by the experts of some large sections. Moreover, the commoners in the vicinity of the 4 great mythological beasts' residences probably all knew about these mythological beasts. In this world, there might be more than 4 emptiness realm demonic beasts. However, the most ferocious ones were probably these 4 divine beasts. Due to their aggressive nature, these 4 divine beasts would often attack humans. They would even stay in one place, be extremely arrogant, and kill countless people. Therefore, they were extremely famous. However, many emptiness realm demonic beasts that were hidden in various places were unknown. For example, the golden dragon turtle. Moreover, there were definitely emptiness realm demonic beasts in the desolate land. However, they were unknown in the desolate land. For example, the golden dragon turtle in the Great Yen Mountain and the flood dragon violet rain that had existed since the tribal era. They were all willing to hide. Thus, the surrounding humans did not know of their existence. The emptiness realm demonic beasts were all intelligent. Some disdained coming into contact with humans and focused on comprehending the Tao of heaven. They wanted to break through the shackles of demonic beasts and become an omnipotent expert. However, some liked to play tricks on humans and even eat humans. From the perspective of demonic beasts eating humans was the same as humans eating wild beasts. There is no godly eagle among the 4 great divine beasts. I didn't expect that other than the 4 divine beasts, there was also a godly hawk that could release thunderbolts that liked to attack humans. Ting Qingshan thought to himself, I saw the golden dragon turtle before. I also saw the flood dragon with 2 forked dragon horns, dragon whiskers, and dragon claws in the underwater passage of the frost jade pool. These 2 should also be emptiness realm demonic beasts. In total, I already know of 7 emptiness realm demonic beasts. It seems that the emptiness realm demonic beasts that have appeared in public. The 4 divine beasts are only a small portion of the emptiness realm demonic beasts. I'm afraid that there are still many terrifying demonic beasts hiding in the land of the 9 prefectures. Ting Qingshan sighed to himself. That's right. There are many types of demonic beasts, and there are many talented ones. In addition to their long lifespans, the number of living emptiness realm demonic beasts surpasses that of human emptiness realm experts. It's not strange. If Emperor Yu's treasure hadn't been opened, no one would have thought that the ordinary Great Yen Mountain actually had 2 terrifying emptiness realm demonic beasts. The Supreme Sex lost a lot of men, and Qing Hu Island even lost over 10,000 silver dragon soldiers. I wonder how many powerful demonic beasts are hiding in the land of the 9 prefectures. Maybe I can meet a few during my journey. Ting Qingshan thought to himself. The incident of the godly thunderbolt hawk made everyone sigh in admiration. After they had eaten and drank to their heart's content, Ting Qingshan, Ma Jinshao, and the others were led out of the restaurant by Old Zhang and He Zi. They brought their horses and goods to find a place to stay. P.S. Chapter 2. Chapter 252. Brother Qinwei, Brother Ma, the environment of this inn is not bad and the price is not too expensive. Old Zhang brought Ting Qingshan and the others to the entrance of an inn. Old Zhang then shouted towards the inn, Old Man Zhou. Immediately, an old man wearing a leather hat ran out and said with a smile, Io, Old Zhang is back. Old Zhang laughed and scolded, I can't accept you calling me Old Zhang. These few are my friends. I will help you bring business and you just need to earn a little. No problem, right? No problem. They eat and stay here, and I will give them a 30% discount, the elder named Zhou said with a smile. While Ting Qingshan and the others were at the entrance of the inn, in a luxurious private room on the 3rd floor of a restaurant across the street. A slightly plump, fair-skinned man dressed in a luxurious black fur coat was sitting on a chair with his legs curled up. His body was leaning against the wall, and there were dishes and wine on the square table in front of him. He held a wine cup in one hand and occasionally looked down through the window. He was leisurely drinking wine and occasionally eating. This person was Pei San, the one who bought the title of top courtesan. On the other side of the square table sat a tanned and muscular man like an iron tower, and a beautiful girl wearing a white fox fur coat. Pei San looked at the street in surprise. At this moment Ting Qingshan, who was on the street, was instructing the waiter. At the same time, he went to open the 2 boxes containing the tea brick. I almost made a mistake. Pei San waved his hand and said, Duan, come over and take a look. Who is down there? Meng Duan and the guard, Iron Tower, looked down through the window. Old master, I don't know anyone down there. Iron Tower was puzzled. Meng Duan looked carefully and shook her head. Old master, I don't see anyone familiar. Look at the man with a big box in one hand. The one with a scimitar on his waist, and the one dressed like a Yuyan. Do you see him? Pei San smiled. I see him, but we have never seen this person before. Iron Tower was puzzled. Meng Duan observed carefully for a long time until Ting Qingshan entered the inn. She then frowned and shook her head. I don't know him. Haha, Ting Qingshan is really good at disguising himself. Pei San praised. Master, you mean? Iron Tower's eyes widened. Meng Duan was also in disbelief. No, that person can't be Ting Qingshan. He's completely different. His height is different, his appearance is different, even his temperament is different. How come it's the same person? From Meng Duan's point of view, it was very hard to change a person's temperament. Even though it was pointed out, she still couldn't believe it. He is Ting Qingshan. Pei San was sure. Haha, I can't blame you for not recognizing me. Pei San smiled and drank a cup of wine before he said, At first glance, I didn't recognize him. Over the years, as long as I saw it once, I would remember to wear a human skin mask. I can recognize them at a glance. However, this Ting Qingshan. When I saw him just now, I only felt that he looked familiar. Later, after careful analysis, I found that there was a suitcase in one of the 2 boxes. The compartment of the suitcase was empty. An axe and 2 parts of a spear were placed inside. After discovering these weapons, I was able to determine his identity. Pei San exclaimed, Without those 2 weapons, even I wouldn't be able to recognize him. This disguising skill is really good. Meng Duan and Iron Tower looked at each other. They knew very well how powerful their master was. Even their master couldn't recognize him at first glance. He had to rely on the weapons to confirm his identity. This disguising skill was indeed frightening. In the entire land of the 9 prefectures, there are only a handful of people who can recognize Ting Qingshan. Pei San smiled and said, Moreover, these people have never seen Ting Qingshan before. Even if they see this Ting Qingshan now, they wouldn't expect it. Therefore, they wouldn't check Ting Qingshan's suitcase. Unless the weapons were discovered, Ting Qingshan wouldn't be exposed. Pei San said. Iron Tower and Meng Duan nodded. According to the investigation, Qinghu Island lost over 10,000 soldiers and 12 law-enforcing elders. The other sects also lost many innate experts. Meng Duan smiled and praised. This Ting Qingshan is really powerful. It seems that he will only be 18 years old a few days later. But now, he is walking around the world and Qinghu Island can't even find him. Pei San looked down through the window and said, Ting Qingshan. He has already reached the true Dan of the innate realm. The speed of his improvement is beyond my expectations. I am also looking forward to seeing him. Pei San then sighed. Unfortunately, he was born too late. The sigh echoed in the room. Hearing this sound, people couldn't help but feel sad. Iron Tower looked at Pei San's expression and whispered, Master, Martial Uncle has already attacked Xiaoyao Palace. He is probably waiting for you. Let's go meet with Martial Uncle. Okay. Pei San nodded and stood up. Meng Duan and Iron Tower immediately followed Pei San and left the inn. In the inn where Ting Qingshan stayed. Bang! 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 2 boxes were placed on the floor. Ting Qingshan quickly closed the window and the door. He then took out a suitcase from one of the boxes and put it on the bed. Splitting mountain axe and reincarnation spear. It would be troublesome if someone found out. Ting Qingshan was very careful. To Ting Qingshan, the box that stored the tea bricks was only used to disguise his identity. The suitcase didn't look special from the outside or the inside. However, once someone knocked off the iron sheet, they would find 2 parts of the spear and the splitting mountain axe were placed on the bottom layer. Okay, I will find a merchant tomorrow and sneak into a caravan to go to Yuzhou, Ting Qingshan said to himself. This journey would start from Yangzhou to the northwest, pass through Qingzhou, Yuzhou and finally Yanzhou. Then, he would enter the Great Prairie and head north, until he reached the northernmost shore. After drifting for over 10,000 li in the northern sea, he would reach his final destination, the northern sea continent. Ting Qingshan must go to the northern sea continent. Firstly, his powerful spirit could reach the golden Dan of the innate realm. However, stepping into the emptiness realm wasn't just a matter of resting. Only when one reached the emptiness realm could he have the right to speak in the entire land of the 9 prefectures. Secondly, he had to keep his promise to Emperor Yu. One had to admit that Emperor Yu's move was very powerful. Emptiness realm was enough to attract warriors to the northern sea continent. At night, Ting Qingshan prepared to go downstairs and finish his meal. Creak! Ting Qingshan opened the door and walked to the corridor. Little he! Ting Qingshan smiled and shouted. The door of the room beside Ting Qingshan was wide open. Little he and his mother lived here. At this moment, Little he was chopping with a wooden stick. Uncle Qin! Little he immediately shouted. Not only do you have to practice chopping every day, but you also have to use your brain. Do you understand? Ting Qingshan smiled and said, for example, how to chop the fastest. You have to gradually correct your posture. For example, the posture of standing. Chopping with 2 hands is different from chopping with 1 hand. You have to keep pondering, until you find the most suitable posture for you. That way you can strike the fastest. Do you understand? Little he opened his eyes wide as he pondered. He was just a child. He could only chop with a wooden stick every day and complete the task his teacher gave him. However, this improvement was too slow. Remember, learn to use your brain. Ting Qingshan smiled and said. It seems that Brother Qinwei is also an expert. At this moment, Ma Jinshao walked out from another room. Ting Qingshan smiled helplessly and said, I'm not an expert. Although I'm a little smart, my talent is average. I've practiced for 20 to 30 years, but I'm still like this. I've made a lot of money by selling some tea bricks. At least my family won't have to worry about food and drink. I can also teach that little bastard of mine well. At least, he has to be stronger than his father. I envy Brother Qinwei. You have a child to teach. Ma Jinshao sighed. Brother Ma, let's go eat together. Little he, you should rest too. Ting Qingshan opened his mouth and said. I went outside just now and have eaten, Ma Jinshao said with a smile. As he spoke, Ma Jinshao walked into Little He's room. Ting Qingshan also walked in together with him. Creak! Ma Jinshao closed the door. Ting Qingshan looked at Ma Jinshao in surprise. Why did he close the door? Little he. Ma Jinshao glanced at the child. Teacher! Little he immediately puffed out his chest and stood ramrod straight. Ma Jinshao smiled and patted Little he's head. This made Little he feel somewhat flattered. His teacher was very strict. Perhaps the food was provided very well, but it was rare for him to pamper her so much. Little he. What your Uncle Qin said just now is very right. No matter if you practice saber or sword, you must know how to think with your brain. Those who imitate the saber and sword skills of the predecessors are mostly mediocre. But if you learn how to think, you can avoid detours. Ma Jinshao revealed a smile. Little he, you have good perseverance and talent. If you know how to think and change and cultivate diligently, you will definitely achieve something when you become an adult. But teacher, I still have something to do. Ma Jinshao took out a secret manual from his bosom and handed it to Little he's mother. Madam Tan, this secret manual contains everything. If I can come back after I finish my business, I will teach Little he personally. But if I can't come back, first teach Little he how to read and write. Then, let him read this secret manual. Teacher, you want to leave Little he? Tan he was so shocked that he hugged his teacher's leg. Little he. His mother hastily pulled Tan he. Little he, don't be wishy-washy. Ma Jinshao shouted and said sternly, Teacher has his own business. I can't always follow you. Madam Tan, there are silver notes in the secret manual. If we use it sparingly, it will be enough for a few decades. Madam Tan and her mother's eyes were a little red. They realized that their benefactor Ma Jinxiao was going to do something very dangerous. Teacher. Tan He, who was only 7 or 8 years old, knelt down with a thud. Then, he kowtowed 3 times. His forehead was red and swollen. Tan He raised his head and looked at his teacher with tears in his eyes. Teacher, my other relatives are all dead. Only teacher and mother are left. Teacher, you must come back and teach me this martial art. I can't learn it well without you. Ma Jinxiao's heart ached, but he said, be strong. Don't cry. Then, Ma Jinxiao opened the door and left. Boo-hoo! Tan He couldn't help but cry. Ting Qingshan saw this and sighed in his heart. He then patted Tan He's head and said softly, Little He, don't worry. Your teacher will definitely come back to teach you. Yes, he will. Little He nodded. P.S. 3 chapters completed, from the 8th to the 18th today, excluding the 1 day of rest in between. I have already been at full strength for 10 days. Tomato will definitely do it. Everyone, please support Tomato with your monthly vote. Now, the monthly votes have fallen to 3rd place. It seems that I have to pull the monthly vote. If I don't pull for a few days, I will fall behind. Do you know how to vote? Click on Recommend Monthly Votes and click on it a few more times. Haha. Chapter 253. At night, in the room where Ting Qingshan was staying in the inn. The door of the room was closed and the room was pitch black. In this pitch black room, Ting Qingshan, who was dressed in black, was practicing the 3 postures of Xing-Yi martial arts with his eyes closed. In the narrow space of the house, Ting Qingshan practiced irregularly in every small space of the house. Sometimes the distance of his kicks was long, sometimes the distance of his kicks was short. The speed of his punches varied. However, there was a special sense of harmony, like floating clouds and flowing water. The 3 postures was something that Ting Qingshan had to practice every night, cultivating the internal martial arts to the level that Ting Qingshan was at now. Even the 5-element boxing was not very useful. Only this seemingly simple 3 postures made Ting Qingshan feel the harmony of yin and yang, the concept of a seamless whole. Suddenly, Ting Qingshan opened his eyes and quickly went to the window. Through the hole in the paper of the window, he easily saw a blurry figure leaping into the distance. This Ma Jinxiao has finally set off. Ting Qingshan's face was covered with a black cloth. At the same time, he opened the window and performed Crossing World. He turned into a phantom and flashed twice. He flashed twice and left the area of the inn. In terms of speed and stealth, it was obvious that he was much faster than Ma Jinxiao. Ma Jinxiao and Ting Qingshan, one in front and the other in the back, leaped onto roofs and ran on walls. However, Ting Qingshan's movements did not make any sound, so Ma Jinxiao did not notice. It was not yet late at night and the streets of the county city were still very lively. Lanterns were shining brightly on the street. Ting Qingshan and Ma Jinxiao quickly moved towards the north from the shadows. Soon, they left the bustling area and arrived at an area where only the rich and influential could afford mansions. Many luxurious mansions were close to each other. Where is Ma Jinxiao going? Ting Qingshan was puzzled. After interacting with Ma Jinxiao for the past few days, Ting Qingshan felt that Ma Jinxiao was a good person and never put on airs. He paid even more attention to his disciple, Tan He. The conversation between Ma Jinxiao and his disciple this evening had attracted Ting Qingshan's attention. Obviously, Ma Jinxiao wanted to do something big, and his life was probably in danger. If he could help, he would help once. Oh, it seems like it's the one in front. Ting Qingshan saw Ma Jinxiao jump into the courtyard of a mansion and followed him quietly. The mansion occupied a large area, with fake mountains, flowers, and plants everywhere. Inside the mansion, there were many guards patrolling with lanterns. These guards? The immortal guards of Xiaoyao Palace? Ting Qingshan instantly determined the identity of these patrolling guards. They were the elite troops of the 8 great sects of the land of the 9 prefectures. Most of the elites were dressed in black heavy armor, but there were some minor differences. Take the Divine Guards as an example. The most eye-catching part of the Divine Guard's heavy armor was the sword-shaped mark on the shoulder plate. To be able to command the immortal guards of Xiao Yao Palace to be the guards of the mansion, the master of this mansion must have a high status. Ting Qingshan pondered as he followed Ma Jinshao quietly into the depths of the mansion. As for the so-called immortal guards, even the Golden Dan innate experts couldn't detect Ting Qingshan's movements, let alone these so-called elite guards. At a fake mountain. Phew. Ting Qingshan quietly hid behind the fake mountain. What is Ma Jinshao doing? Why is he standing there and not moving? Ting Qingshan glanced into the distance. Ma Jinshao was hiding behind another fake mountain and was constantly looking at the main hall of the mansion. The main hall in the distance was brightly lit. Hearty laughter could be heard continuously. Many people were drinking and eating. There were also maids carrying delicacies into the main hall. Looks like Ma Jinshao's target should be in the main hall. Ting Qingshan leisurely tried to listen to the sounds in the main hall. Brothers, I, Old Xiao, am very happy that you can stay in my house. My mansion is not small. It's just that there aren't many people. Elders, protectors, and second martial brother. You guys have to stay for a while. That loud laughter sounded. In the main hall, 6 people were sitting around a square table. The table surface was cut and polished from a smooth, clear stone. The dishes on the table were all very exquisite. Every pair of chopsticks was meticulously carved by a craftsman. Jugs of good wine were also placed at the side. These 6 people were obviously eating and drinking very happily. 6th Martial Brother. You are living very comfortably in Huiyue County City. A middle-aged man with 2 white eyebrows smiled and said, We live in the mountains all year round. We are not as carefree as you. That's right. In Xiao Yao Palace we can get some good wine. But we don't have good food. In the palace, they wouldn't specially invite a group of people to cook for us elders and protectors. A skinny middle-aged man wearing a white cloak smiled and said, Don't make fun of me. The fat middle-aged man laughed and said, Until now, I am only a commandant. I am always on the move. I didn't expect you guys to stay in the palace. Especially second martial brother. Back then, among the 9 martial brothers, second martial brother was the most powerful. Second senior brother was the strongest, having reached the innate realm. Second martial brother, my grandson is 11 years old this year. Now, he is learning the basic sword art and inner strength. However, his performance is not bad. He is better than my son and me back then. Second martial brother, take my grandson to your branch. The white-eyebrowed man heard and smiled. Do you think little Anen? Yes, that child is very perceptive. How about this, we'll wait for this storm to pass. When I return to the palace, I will transfer him to my branch. I will often teach him. At least, little An is better than a lazy person like you. The fat middle-aged man chuckled. I'm just that lazy. Elder Sikong. A silver-haired elder frowned and said, When do you think this storm will pass? The white-eyebrowed man heard and became silent. I really don't know why that godly eagle insisted on attacking our Xiao Yao palace. It made everyone anxious. Now, so many people in the palace have to leave the mountain. The skinny white-cloaked man said discontentedly. The fat middle-aged man said solemnly, This kind of godly beast is as smart as humans. It wouldn't attack Xiao Yao Palace for no reason. When did our Xiao Yao Palace offend this godly beast? Don't worry about it. The white-eyebrowed man frowned and shouted, This godly beast has provoked our Xiao Yao Palace many times. The old sovereign will definitely solve this problem. Hearing the 3 words, old sovereign, the other 5 people nodded. Actually, Xiao Yao Palace was in a miserable state. Most of the people in the palace had to leave Xiao Yao Palace and temporarily live in the nearby county city. This was because the godly thunderbolt eagle had spat out 3 thunderbolts and killed many people in Xiao Yao Palace. Even innate experts couldn't resist the thunderbolts of the godly thunderbolt eagle. They could only retreat. Therefore, these protectors, elders, and law-enforcing elders could only temporarily live in the houses of their fellow disciples who had residences in the county city. Because the door of the hall was wide open, Ting Qingshan could barely hear part of the conversation. "Tsk. Xiao Yao Palace is really miserable." Ting Qingshan laughed in his heart. It seems that the godly thunderbolt eagle forced many experts to live in the county city. Therefore, the immortal guards are scattered to protect the mansions. Ting Qingshan glanced at Ma Jinshao, who was not far away. Ma Jinshao was quietly waiting, like a wild beast hunting its prey. After a long time, along with some hearty laughter, the 6 people who had gathered together finally dispersed at the entrance of the hall. "Haha, Brother Dong, I see that you are walking unsteadily. Do you want me to take you back?" The master of the mansion, the fat middle-aged man, laughed and shouted as he watched the other 5 people return to their residences. After that, he ordered, "Remove all these and clean them up. Pass down the order. Tomorrow morning's banquet will still be prepared with the highest quality dishes." "Yes, master." The 2 maids hastily went to clean up. As for this master, he hummed a little tune proudly as he walked back to his residence. Phew! Phew! Ma Jinshao quietly followed him while Ting Qingshan quietly followed Ma Jinshao. In a dark corridor, the fat middle-aged man was in a good mood. He shook his head as he walked. "It's rare for second martial brother to come to my place. Tsk. He is the law-enforcing elder. This is a rare opportunity. I have to serve him well. Which room should I go to tonight? That new little demoness is too fierce." I should find, while he was still thinking about women, he suddenly felt a pain in his throat. Bang! A room on the side of the corridor was knocked open, and the fat, big-eared, middle-aged man was forced into the room by the throat. With a creaking sound, the door was closed. Who are you?" The middle-aged man felt his throat loosen and immediately asked. He didn't dare to shout. To be able to subdue him, an expert at the peak of the post-liminary realm, in one move, the person's strength. Perhaps even the top 10 of the Earth ranking couldn't compare to him. Perhaps he might be an innate expert. "Look at me clearly." With a wave of his hand, a match was lit and a candle was lit. "I don't know you." The fat middle-aged man frowned. "Did you catch the wrong person?" As a commandant of the Immortal Guards, he was very clear about the current situation. "Xiao Zhong." Ma Jinshao stared at the fat middle-aged man. "Don't tell me you're not Xiao Zhong." The fat middle-aged man was startled. "Yes, I'm Xiao Zhong, the commandant of the Immortal Guards, Xiao Zhong." The fat middle-aged man replied. "Oh, you've been promoted and become a commandant?" Ma Jinshao sneered. "I've been a commandant for a long time. It's been more than 10 years. The fat middle-aged man looked at Ma Jinshao in confusion. "I don't even know you. I don't know how I offended you, hero. Can you explain it clearly?" At this moment, on the roof, Ting Qingshan's ear was pressed against the roof, listening carefully. "Ah!" A very low scream came from inside the room. Could it be that Ma Jinshao killed Xiao Zhong? Ting Qingshan could determine that the scream must have been muffled due to the person's mouth being covered. Suddenly, a very low voice came from inside the room. "Xiao Zhong, now that I've crippled your martial arts, you don't need to speak, just listen. You will know why I came to find you." The voice sounded very cold. Chapter 254. In the dark room, the weak light from a single candle barely illuminated the room. Xiao Zhong was sitting on the ground paralyzed. His 2 arms and legs were drooping powerlessly. His forehead was full of sweat. His face was ferocious as he stared at Ma Jinshao. He didn't expect that the person in front of him would be so ruthless. He actually destroyed his martial arts and broke his legs and arms. He was completely destroyed. You hate me? Ma Jinshao sneered. Qiao Zhong, whose mouth was gagged, let out an unwilling grunt. His eyes looked as if he wanted to tear the murderer in front of him into pieces. Qiao Zhong, do you remember 21 years ago? When you were a centurion, you passed by a village called Ma Jia Village, that was a few li north of Shaoyao Mountain. Ma Jinshao stared at Qiao Zhong, not letting go of any expression or gaze of Qiao Zhong. At this moment, Qiao Zhong's hatred made Ma Jinshao feel happy and satisfied. Yes, yes. Qiao Zhong shook his head desperately. You don't know? It seems that you have done too many evil deeds. So many that you have forgotten. Ma Jinshao sneered. You, Qiao Zhong, have 19 wives. Among them, the 6th wife's surname is Ma. Am I right? Qiao Zhong's eyes widened. Her name is Ma Qiao. She was captured by you from Ma Jia village, and became your concubine. However, Ma Qiao hated you very much. On the 3rd day after she became your concubine, you beat her to death. Am I right? Ma Jinshao's expression became colder. Qiao Zhong was eager to speak. You don't need to say anything. I know that Ma Qiao wanted to poison you to death. Ma Jinshao sneered. That's why you killed her. But why did she want to poison you to death? She was a weak woman. Why did she want to kill a centurion of Shaoyao Palace? Ma Jinshao was extremely angry. He lowered his voice and roared, That's because you killed her husband, her parents, and her uncles. A total of 38 lives. Just because they stopped you, you stole a married woman. A total of 38 lives. Qiao Zhong didn't argue anymore. It was obvious that the person in front of him knew the details. However, in the eyes of a bandit gang, slaughtering a village was nothing. He was a centurion of the immortal army. He didn't care if he killed some people. 38 lives. As for this Ma Jia village, the other clansmen are afraid of you and don't dare to stop you. Ma Jinshao's expression was ferocious. Luckily, I wasn't at home that day. That day, the guards who were protecting the village went into the city to buy New Year's goods. I'm not dead. I'm the only one left in my family. Qiao Zhong's eyes widened in horror. Listen up, Ma Qiao is my sister. Ma Qingyang is my father. Lu Minghua is my mother. Ma Jinshao stared at Qiao Zhong and growled, and I am Ma Jinshao. Qiao Zhong's body trembled when he heard this. He regretted it. He was ruthless. If he knew that there was such a brat in Ma Jia village, he would have been so ruthless. Back then, he would have definitely eradicated them. Ma Jinshao pulled out the saber in his hand. Don't worry, I won't slash you too much. 38 lives, including my sister, 39 lives. I will give you 39 cuts. Every cut I will be very slow. With that said, Ma Jinshao stretched out his hand and abruptly pointed at Qiao Zhong's neck. Puff! Qiao Zhong's throat trembled. The first cut will be your tongue. Ma Jinshao took out the cloth that was stuffed in Qiao Zhong's mouth. Just now, his finger had already pierced the vital acupoint on Qiao Zhong's neck. At this moment, Qiao Zhong had already lost his voice. Don't be afraid. I will be very slow. Ma Jinshao stroked the saber in his hand. I got this saber from the Mio Island in the East Sea Islands. In order to kill you, I became a disciple of the East Sea Islands and trained hard for 20 years. I didn't expect that my aptitude was good enough to reach the emptiness Dan innate realm. I thought that killing you would be easy. Who would have thought that so many people from Shaoyao Palace would leave Shaoyao Mountain and live in the county city? There are many protectors and elders in your mansion. There are also many experts in the other mansions around you, including innate experts. I know that if I'm not careful, I will be discovered. I will probably lose my life. However, I can't wait. I don't even know when the cowards of Shaoyao Palace will return to Shaoyao Palace. Therefore, I will make my move today. 21 years. Father, mother, sister, uncles, and the others are waiting anxiously. Ma Jinshao gently waved the saber in his hand. Like slaughtering a pig or a cow, he took his revenge on Qiao Zhong. On the roof, Ting Qingshan could faintly hear Qiao Zhong's weak and painful gasps as well as Ma Jinshao's muttering. 21 years. Ma Jinshao has been suppressed by hatred for 21 years. Ting Qingshan sighed to himself. From a psychological point of view, an ordinary person would have collapsed after being suppressed by hatred for 21 years. If he didn't collapse, his mentality would be distorted and it wouldn't be strange for him to become a homicidal maniac. However, Ma Jinshao's self-control was not bad. At least, he only killed Qiao Zhong and didn't exterminate his entire family. There shouldn't be any powerful experts around this mansion. Otherwise, Ma Jinshao's low voice and Qiao Zhong's grunts should have been heard. Ting Qingshan judged. With his six senses, even if he was in a corner of the mansion, he would definitely be able to detect the commotion here. Suddenly, Ting Qingshan, who was lying on the roof, glanced into the distance. I really jinxed it. Ting Qingshan shook his head. He saw the middle-aged man with white eyebrows in the distance was approaching in confusion. However, he didn't say anything and quietly came to the corridor. Ting Qingshan quietly lifted a tile on the roof and looked down. Bang! The door was kicked open. Ma Jinshao, who was originally venting his hatred and cutting Qiao Zhong's flesh with his saber, was shocked. Sixth junior brother. The man with white eyebrows at the door saw the bloody scene in front of him and couldn't help but be shocked and angry. Woo woo! Qiao Zhong, who was already blind, heard the sound and immediately tried to exhale excitedly. He knew his second senior brother was here. Even if he died, someone could avenge him. Only 26 slashes, consider yourself lucky. Ma Jinshao waved the saber in his hand and directly pierced into Qiao Zhong's heart. Poochie! Blood splattered. Die! The man with white eyebrows roared angrily. The long sword in his hand lit up with a silver sword radiance. He moved and turned into a residual shadow as he attacked Ma Jinshao. You don't have to send me off. Ma Jinshao sneered and at the same time, he fiercely crashed into the window beside him. The man with white eyebrows' face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost. He turned around and chased after Ting Qingshan. However, Ma Jinshao, who originally wanted to escape, suddenly turned around strangely and turned back. The saber in his hand also emitted a black saber radiance and turned into continuous saber shadows as he slashed at the man with white eyebrows. The saber shadows were extremely fast. Your saber skills are not bad. The voice of the man with white eyebrows was still echoing in the room. Clang! Clang! After 2 consecutive clashing sounds, Ma Jinshao let out a low groan and was violently hit against the wall behind him. Boom! The wall suddenly collapsed and the broken bricks and stones flew everywhere. The tiles and beams on the roof also fell down. Such a big movement attracted many people in the surrounding area. Quick! Northeast side, go there quickly. A large number of patrolling immortal guards quickly rushed over. What's going on? What's going on? Junior brother, go there quickly. A group of protectors and elders also rushed over quickly. An emptiness Dan innate expert dares to be arrogant. You don't know what's good for you. The man with white eyebrows moved as fast as lightning. As the bricks and stones flew everywhere, he dashed forward and the halo on his body knocked away the bricks and stones. The sharp sword in his hand that emitted a silver sword radiance flashed and arrived in front of the severely injured Ma Jinshao. Ma Jinshao, whose perlicue was split open, couldn't stop the attack in time. So fast, Ma Jinshao only felt his vision blur and the silver sword radiance filled his field of vision. With a ferocious expression, he roared angrily and used all his strength to throw the saber in his hand as a flying dagger. A futile struggle. The man with white eyebrows didn't dare to let the saber stab him. He simply turned his long sword and parried the saber. Then, he stabbed at Ma Jinxiao's throat. Father, mother, sister, uncle, big uncle. Jinxiao has avenged all of you. I have no regrets now. After carrying the hatred for 21 years, Ma Jinxiao was very calm in the face of death. Suddenly, the image of the child who stood in front of his mother in front of the bandits appeared in his mind. Little he, master wanted to teach you. Unfortunately, you can only rely on yourself in the future. Clang! A clear and melodious sound rang out. The man with white eyebrows only felt a phantom hit his sword. The force was so strong that he couldn't control the long sword. He was shocked. He saw a masked man in black clothes appear like lightning. He kicked Ma Jinxiao, who was on the ground, and sent Ma Jinxiao flying. Go quickly! Ma Jinxiao only reacted when he was in midair. Death and life made Ma Jinxiao's mind agitated. Thank you for saving my life. The moment Ma Jinxiao landed on the ground, he immediately cupped his hands and shouted gratefully. Then, he immediately leaped up and escaped. Seeing that Ma Jinxiao had escaped, the man with white eyebrows became even more furious. The sharp sword in his hand shone brightly with silver radiance. It was like a sword screen that covered the man in black clothes who was trying to escape. The man in black clothes had nowhere to run. The sword screen created a strong blade of air that plowed deep trenches on the ground. Humph! Seeing that the man in black clothes was blocked by the sword screen, he snorted angrily and punched the huge silver sword screen. Bang! The fist shattered the sword screen and smashed the innate true origin light shield in front of the man with white eyebrows' chest. The man with white eyebrows was sent flying like a meteor. He smashed through the walls one after another. After smashing through 4 walls, he fell on the ground in a sorry state. The man with white eyebrows coughed out a mouthful of blood with difficulty and raised his head to look. The man in black clothes had already leaped up. The immortal guards who had just arrived couldn't stop him in time. Who are you? The man with white eyebrows roared unwillingly. You overestimate yourself. The cold and stern voice was still echoing. The masked man in black clothes had already disappeared into the night. Chapter 255. In the dark night, many of the surrounding mansions began to clamor. The black-clothed and masked Ting Qingshan frowned and said, I reckon that many law-enforcing elders of Xiao Yao Palace are in the surrounding area. Ting Qingshan exerted all of his physical strength and his speed immediately soared, transforming into a blurry shadow. Don't even think about escaping. A purple-robed man turned into a purple blur and chased after Ting Qingshan. The purple blur and black blur chased one after the other. In just 2 breaths of time, the black phantom flashed and disappeared. The purple-robed man stopped. He had a red mole between his eyebrows. He looked around and said, This person runs really fast. Judging from his speed, he's only slightly slower than me. It's very likely that he is a Golden Dan innate expert. The purple-robed man turned around and left quickly when he couldn't find Ting Qingshan. Inside Qiao Zhong's mansion, dozens of elders and more than 10 enforcement elders were gathered here. Elder Sikong, are you all right? Those law enforcement elders were somewhat worried. Ahem, I'm fine. I just need to rest for half a month. The white-browed man's face was pale. He shook his head and said, That black-clothed masked man's strength far exceeds mine. However, he didn't have the intention to kill me. Otherwise, with just a little more strength in his fist, I would be dead. He only acted to save the murderer who killed my 6th junior brother. The white-browed man spoke weakly, and it was clear that his injuries were not light. A black-cloaked elder frowned and said, How dare you offend our Xiao Yao Palace? We will not let you off easily. Martial uncle. The violet-robed man with a red mole between his eyebrows shook his head. Let's forget about this matter. I also chased after that black-clothed masked man just now, but he escaped. His speed is slightly slower than mine. Sikong also said that the black-clothed masked man's strength far surpasses his. I think that person should be a Golden Dan innate expert. He might not necessarily be a Golden Dan innate expert. The black-robed elder shook his head and said, Martial nephew, your movement technique is not your forte. He is even slower than you. I reckon that he is a true Dan innate expert who specializes in Qigong. Furthermore, he had defeated Sikong with a single punch. In this world, there were very few innate experts who used fists. There are very few who dare to offend our Xiao Yao Palace. Now that one has popped out of nowhere, I think of someone. Someone next to him exclaimed, Ting Qin Shan? Yes. The black-robed elder nodded and said solemnly, This Ting Qin Shan is proficient in spear arts and fist arts. Moreover, in the Great Yen Mountain, he played many innate experts in the palm of his hand. In the end, he caused the great sects to suffer heavy casualties. I guessed that his Qigong was also very good. Moreover, he once killed Snow Hawk Hall's Taijio with a single move. Yes, yes. The heavily injured white-browed man said hurriedly, previously, when he saved that murderer, he used a concealed weapon to send my sure-kill sword flying. If that's the case, the black-cloaked elder said indifferently, Protector Liu, pass this news to the people of Qinghu Island. Yes. Protector Liu immediately replied. The law-enforcing elders of Xiao Yao Palace, who went to the Great Yen Mountain, were all dead. This made the upper echelons of Xiao Yao Palace very angry. They didn't have a good impression of Ting Qingshan either. The black-cloaked elder continued, Sikong, do you still remember the appearance of that murderer? The white-browed man frowned and thought for a while. I vaguely remember. He and Ma Jinshao discovered each other under the dim candlelight and then fought fiercely. In just a short while, because of Ting Qingshan's interference, Ma Jinshao escaped. Under that kind of fierce fight, and the surrounding was dim, the white-browed man's memory wasn't very clear. He dared to be so arrogant and kill the men of Xiao Yao Palace. We can't let him go. The black-cloaked elder sneered, Sikong, hurry up and find him. Draw the murderer's appearance. After that, search the entire county city. In the inn, Ting Qingshan had already changed his clothes and was resting on the bed. Bang! Bang! Someone knocked on the door. Who is it? Ting Qingshan stood up. Brother Qinwei, it's me. Ma Jinxiao's voice sounded. Ting Qingshan walked over and opened the door. At this moment, Ma Jinxiao was leading the child, Tan He and Madame Tan. Please come in. When they came in, Ting Qingshan immediately closed the door. Uncle Qin, teacher said that he will personally teach me saber arts in the future. Tan He said excitedly. Ting Qingshan smiled and patted Tan He's head. He then looked at Ma Jinxiao and said, Brother Ma, it seems that your problem has been solved. Ma Jinxiao smiled and said, Yes, it has been solved. Congratulations. Ting Qingshan smiled and said, Haha, Brother Qinwei, I came here to ask you to do something. Ma Jinxiao said. Ting Qingshan was surprised and said, Please speak. Brother Qinwei, you should have gone to find the caravan in the afternoon. Are you preparing to leave Huiyue County City tomorrow morning? Ma Jinxiao said. Ting Qingshan nodded and admitted. Ma Jinxiao continued. Then, when Brother Qinwei leaves tomorrow morning, can you bring little he and his mother with you? What? Ting Qingshan was caught off guard. Ma Jinxiao smiled and said, I only want Brother Qinwei to bring them out of the city. You should go to Yuzhou from the North City Gate. When you walk along the official road for 10 li, I will wait for you by the roadside. At that time, I will pick up the mother and son. Oh, okay. Leave it to me. Ting Qingshan nodded. Thank you, Brother Qinwei. Ma Jinxiao cupped his hands in gratitude. Ting Qingshan smiled and patted Tan He's head. As an uncle, it is my duty to help little he. Little he, right? Little he smiled. That's all. I won't disturb Brother Qinwei's rest. Ma Jinxiao quickly left Ting Qingshan's room with the mother and son. Ting Qingshan closed the door and a smile appeared on his face. This Ma Jinxiao is quite cautious. I think he is afraid that Xiao Yao Palace will chase him in the entire county city. Ting Qingshan looked to the north and said, I think Ma Jinxiao will leave Huiyue County City overnight. The city wall was useless against an innate expert. Early morning. Ting Qingshan was leading the Scarlet Flame Horse. Tan He and his mother were sitting on the Scarlet Flame Horse. Tisk tsk. Xiao Yao Palace is really noisy. With a glance, Ting Qingshan saw a large number of soldiers looking for someone on the street. The leader of the soldiers was holding a portrait in his hand. Uncle Qin, there are many soldiers on the road. Tan He said in surprise. Ting Qingshan smiled as he led the horse and walked leisurely. On the way to the northern city gate, Ting Qingshan realized that every street had a large number of soldiers. There are only so many streets in the county city. And the number of soldiers is very large. My Guiyuan sect has 80,000 city guards. Xiao Yao Palace must have a lot of city guards. Even if they sent tens of thousands of soldiers to search the entire county city, they would be able to search every corner of the city. Ting Qingshan sighed at the power of the 8 supreme sections. Tan He and his mother didn't dare to speak loudly. They also realized that there were too many soldiers in the county city today. Each and every one of them was very overbearing. Uncle Qin, there are also many soldiers at the city gate. Tan He said nervously. Search them one by one? Ting Qingshan frowned. Suddenly, Ting Qingshan saw a large portrait pasted on the nearby city wall. Ting Qingshan didn't recognize the face of the portrait. This is Ma Jinxiao's portrait? Ting Qingshan smiled. This portrait was very different from Ma Jinxiao's. Only the shape of the face was similar, but the rest was different. That's right. That white-browed expert only fought with Ma Jinxiao for a short while before Ma Jinxiao left. That white-browed expert's memory is probably fuzzy. It's not strange that this portrait is not accurate. Ting Qingshan also heaved a sigh of relief for Ma Jinxiao. At least, Ma Jinxiao didn't need to hide anymore. Martial uncle, we asked the people of Xiao Yao Palace to help us find Ting Qingshan. But those soldiers who searched the streets didn't help us find him seriously. A few people were standing at the city gate and talking in low voices. One of the young men said discontentedly. The old man said, forget it. Those are the people of Xiao Yao Palace. We can't force them. That's true. Actually, it's not certain if Ting Qingshan is in Huiyue County. The young man said. The old man shook his head and said, finding Ting Qingshan is as difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. However, since the island lord gave a strict order, we can't let go of any opportunity. Search seriously. We don't have enough manpower. However, there are dozens of us at the 4 city gate. If Ting Qingshan disguised himself and escaped, he would most likely leave through the city gate. The young man nodded. Ting Qingshan frowned when he heard this. This Qinghu Island is really haunting us. Actually, Qinghu Island couldn't be blamed. It would be strange if Qinghu Island let Ting Qingshan go after such a huge loss. There was a long queue at the city gate. You open your bag. The soldiers at the city gate searched very strictly. One by one, people went over. The person in front of Ting Qingshan looked like a merchant. There were 2 big bags hanging on his horse. Open those 2 bags. Hurry! The soldier shouted. It's obvious that my bags can't contain people. There's no need, right? The merchant hastily took out some silver and stuffed it into the soldier's hands. Brother, it's very troublesome to store these things. I have to take them out and put them back. It'll take me 10 minutes. Immediately, the old man and the young man who were supervising looked over. Hurry up and open them. Don't talk nonsense. Many of these soldiers were from Qinghu Island. How could they dare to be corrupt and let the merchant go? After all, it was too difficult to find information about Ting Qingshan. Xiao Yao Palace said that Ting Qingshan might be in Huiyue County City. Of course, they had to search desperately. The merchant had a bitter look on his face. He could only go to the side and open the 2 big bags. The soldier even poured out the contents of the bags. There were many soldiers at the city gate, and some even came to check on Ting Qingshan. "You, come here," a soldier shouted. Ting Qingshan immediately led the horse over and said with a Yuyan accent, "Brothers, I have a lot of goods. Please help me." Before Ting Qingshan stuffed the silver into the soldier's hands, the soldier scolded, "Don't talk nonsense. All the women and children on the top, come down. Open the 2 boxes. Hurry up." Ting Qingshan purposely pulled the horse to the side with a bitter look on his face. "Kid, are you from Yuyan? You're so far away, yet you brought your wife and child?" The soldier suddenly spoke and looked at Ting Qingshan suspiciously. Ting Qingshan was shocked. "He's my uncle, Tan," he said. Tan He's accent was obviously from Qingzhou and Yangzhou. "This is my big brother's child. We do business and make friends with people from all over the world. This time, I helped him pick up his child. It's just a few hundred li," Ting Qingshan said with a smile. The soldier heard Tan He's accent and nodded indifferently. At the same time, he shouted, "Hurry up and open the 2 boxes." 3 chapters were released consecutively in 11 days. The promise was fulfilled. In these 11 days, Tomato's updates were delayed. It was very shameful. However, the promise was fulfilled. Now the monthly votes are 3rd. I hope everyone will support Tomato. The monthly votes are up. Chapter 256. At the north gate of Qingzhou's Huiyue County City, there was a long queue. Because they searched too carefully, their speed was very slow. At the side of the city gate, Ting Qingshan was being stared at by one of the guards. Ting Qingshan groaned. He exerted force with both of his arms to get the 2 boxes off the horse's back. Clang! 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 The boxes were placed on the ground. Ting Qingshan smiled helplessly. "My boxes are too heavy." As he spoke, Ting Qingshan opened one of the boxes, revealing the neatly arranged tea bricks. The guard frowned when he saw the tea bricks. "These are all tea bricks. It's very troublesome to get them out. It'll be even more troublesome to put them in. Brother, please help me. I'm just begging for food," Ting Qingshan hastily said. The guard glanced at the few people who were supervising from afar and made up his mind. "Shut up!" The guard shouted at Ting Qingshan. "Quick, pour out the 2 boxes." "Pour out all of them?" Ting Qingshan glared. The guard's face was ice-cold. "The surface of your boxes are tea bricks. Who knows what's underneath? Quick, pour them all out. Otherwise, I'll have to ask you to spend a few days in prison." I'll pour. Ting Qingshan hastily lifted one of the boxes. With a whoosh, he turned the box upside down. However, the opening of the box was against the ground. Ting Qingshan said, "Brother, if I pour them all out, it will be a waste of time. With so many tea bricks, I'm afraid many of them will fall off." Ting Qingshan carefully shook the box and poured out all the tea brick. Clang! The empty box was placed to the side. The guard immediately looked at the empty box and tea bricks and shouted, "Hurry up the other one." All right. Ting Qingshan opened the second box. There was a suitcase inside. Others might not know, but Ting Qingshan knew that the most dangerous thing was in this suitcase. No matter if it was the reincarnation spear or the splitting mountain axe, he must bring them along. He lifted the box with one hand. Hua, a large number of tea bricks and the suitcase fell down together. Ting Qingshan diligently opened the suitcase. There were only some clothes and other sundries in the suitcase. The guard took a look and pushed the pile of tea bricks to the side. He was afraid that the splitting mountain axe and reincarnation spear were hidden underneath. As for the suitcase, he only used his weapon to fiddle with it, so he didn't notice it. "That woman is carrying a big bag. Hand it over." The guard suddenly turned his head and stared at Madame Tan as he shouted. Mrs. Tan, who was holding Tan He's hand, was shocked. Me! Everyone has to be checked, the guard shouted coldly. Mrs. Tan had no choice but to take off her bag. Brother, can I store my tea bricks now? Ting Qingshan asked with a bitter face. The guard also understood the frustration of the merchant in front of him. It was indeed troublesome to put so many tea bricks in. He casually checked Mrs. Tan's bag and said, hurry up and put all the tea bricks in. The sooner he finished packing, the sooner he could leave. Don't block the city gate and get in the way. After checking, the guard went to check the others. Only Ting Qingshan was left to put the tea bricks into the 2 boxes. Uncle Qin, let me help you. Tan He also helped. Madame Tan also hurried over. Although Ting Qingshan carefully poured the 800 tea bricks, more than 10 of them were broken. The tea bricks that were scattered on the ground could still be used to make tea. The 3 of them worked together. In a short while, the 2 boxes were completely filled. Ting Qingshan put the suitcase into the big box. He put the 2 boxes on the scarlet flame horse. Let's go. Ting Qingshan brought Madame Tan and her son out of the city gate. At this moment, no one was stopping them. The distance from the inside to the outside of the city gate was only about 10 zhang. However, it made Ting Qingshan feel very comfortable. Finally, we are out. A smile appeared on Ting Qingshan's face. Just now, if we were discovered, I'm afraid I would have to take the suitcase, Tan He, and his mother and run away immediately. With Ting Qingshan's strength, bringing Madame Tan and her son along wouldn't be a problem. With the strength of the guards at the city gate, Ting Qingshan could easily break out. However, if he really broke out, the consequences would be very serious. First, his identity would be exposed. Second, Madame Tan and her son might suffer an unexpected calamity. Elder Zhou. Ting Qingshan had already seen the caravan at the city gate. He smiled and shouted, "Oh, Brother Qinwei!" Standing in front of the caravan was a sturdy elder wearing a thick leather gown and a leather hat. He greeted Ting Qingshan enthusiastically. "Today, Xiao Yao Palace wants to capture someone. The whole city is searched. Even leaving the city is so troublesome, especially us merchants. Brother Qinwei must have suffered a lot. Isn't that so?" Ting Qingshan shook his head and said helplessly, "2 boxes of goods have to be poured out. When it's time to fill the boxes, I have to fill them myself." "You are lucky. It's only 2 boxes. Our Who's Merchant Company has a total of 10 carts of goods. Those guards are determined and didn't give us any face. They had to pour out all 10 carts of goods." The leader of the caravan, Elder Zhou, seemed very angry as he said, "So many guards and merchants have been busy loading the goods together." Suddenly, Elder Zhou saw another merchant walking towards the city gate and said, "Brother Qinwei, I can't talk to you anymore. I have to go pick someone up." "Elder Zhou, go ahead." Ting Qingshan brought his men and entered the caravan. This caravan was mainly managed by the Who's Merchant Company. There were also many idle merchants that joined the caravan. Many of the idle merchants also had guards with them. In addition to paying a commission and hiring a team of guards, the entire caravan would become even more powerful. There would be a lot of guards. After about an hour, all the merchants had gathered. "All right, everyone is here. The last city that our caravan will arrive at is the royal city of Yuzhou, U City. Now let's go." As the leader of the caravan shouted, the entire caravan set off in a grandiose manner. In this caravan, there were about 300 merchants and more than 500 guards. A caravan of 800 people. It was much bigger than the caravan that Ting Qingshan joined the last time. Drip, drip. Ting Qingshan's scarlet flame horse was leisurely strolling. Because of the caravan couldn't travel very fast. In the morning, there was still snow that had not melted on the official road, causing the temperature to be very low. Xiao Yao Mountain. Ting Qingshan looked at the mountain range in front of him. Xiao Yao Mountain was a few li away from the northern city gate of Huiyue County. He could see it clearly when he left the city. The area of Xiao Yao Mountain was slightly smaller than the Great Yin Mountain. It had a circumference of about 20 to 30 li. However, because of the beautiful scenery, it was chosen by the founder of Xiao Yao Palace as the place to establish the sect. They continued to move forward. After about an hour, that Ma Jinxiao said that it was 10 li away from the city gate. Ting Qingshan looked around carefully. Since I left the city, it has been 10 li. Madame Tan and her son, who were arranged by Ting Qingshan to sit in the caravan, were also paying attention to the surroundings. After a while, Ting Qingshan's gaze locked onto a farmer who was wearing a cotton-padded jacket and a worn-out hat. He was squatting on the ridge beside the official road. Because his head was lowered, the worn-out hat covered most of the farmer's face. His eyes, under his messy hair, occasionally glanced over. "Little he, Madame Tan, come here." Ting Qingshan immediately rode his horse to the side of the official road. Tan He and Madame Tan also knew that Ma Jinxiao would be waiting for them 10 li away. They also saw this worn-out farmer and were suspicious. When they heard Ting Qingshan's shout, they immediately ran over. "Brother Qin Wei." The merchants at the side shouted, "What's the matter?" "It's a small matter. Don't wait for me. I will catch up in a while," Ting Qingshan shouted. The merchants also saw that Ting Qingshan's horse was a scarlet flame horse, which ran much faster than the caravan. Therefore, the caravan did not stop for Ting Qingshan and continued moving forward. Phew! The farmer squatting on the ridge stood up and walked over. "Teacher!" Little Tan He immediately saw the person and ran over excitedly. Ma Jinxiao also smiled and picked up Little Tan He. Ma Jinxiao carried the child and walked over. He looked at Ting Qingshan with a smile and said, "Brother Qin Wei, this time, I really have to thank you. I almost didn't recognize you when you were dressed like this." Ting Qingshan sighed. "Haha, I am originally a villager." Ma Jinxiao smiled and said, "You didn't encounter any trouble when you left the city this time, right?" Ting Qingshan shook his head and said, "There wasn't any big trouble. They are just trying to capture someone in the city. There are guards on every street and at the entrance of the city." Little Tan He, who was being carried by Ma Jinxiao, said, "Yes, the guards poured out all of Uncle Qin's boxes. It seems that they are really strict." Ma Jinxiao couldn't help but feel worried. "Did you see the portrait of the person that Xiao Yao Palace wanted to capture?" Ma Jinxiao stared at Ting Qingshan. "I saw it." Ting Qingshan smiled and said, "Brother Ma, you left in a hurry last night. I thought that you caused a big trouble and Xiao Yao Palace wanted to kill you. However, when I looked at the portrait, it didn't look like you at all. It seems that I guessed wrong." Ma Jinxiao revealed a smile and said, "I did cause some trouble yesterday, so I left at night. However, I wouldn't go so far as to provoke Xiao Yao Palace." Ma Jinxiao also realized that his disciple, Little Tan He and Madame Tan, didn't look surprised. Obviously, that portrait didn't look like him. Ma Jinxiao heaved a sigh of relief. "Brother Ma, what do you plan to do in the future?" Ting Qingshan asked. "Me?" Ma Jinxiao looked around at the surrounding mountains and fields. He shook his head and smiled. "I plan to bring Little He back to my hometown, Ma Jia village. He can also teach the disciples of my Ma clan. If nothing unexpected happens, I will stay in Ma Jia village for the rest of my life." Ma Jinxiao sighed. "I have been outside for too long. I don't want to go any further." "Brother Qin Wei, Ma Jia village is 30 li to the north. You can ask around there and you will know. If you want to find me and Little He, just go there." Ma Jinxiao smiled and said, "Uncle Qin, you must come in the future." Little Tan He hastily said. Ma Jinxiao smiled and said, "Uncle Qin, you must come in the future." Ting Qingshan smiled and patted Little Tan He's head. He nodded and said, "Don't worry. When I finish my business, I will definitely go." Then, Brother Qinwei, you should hurry. I will bring little He and Madame Tan back to Ma Jia village first. Ma Jinxiao bid farewell to Ting Qingshan and brought the mother and son along with him as they walked along the small road in the village. Looking at the backs of Ma Jinxiao and the other two, a smile appeared on Ting Qingshan's face. Stay in Ma Jia village for the rest of your life? An innate expert who is not even 40 years old. He is willing to stay in his hometown, teach the clansmen, protect the clansmen, and live a peaceful life. Ting Qingshan was touched by Ma Jinxiao's decision. Peace was a blessing. If he could live a peaceful life with his family, he would be satisfied. However, my path is different from Ma Jinxiao's. Qinghu Island and I are destined to be destroyed. Ting Qingshan jumped on the scarlet flame horse. Jia. The scarlet flame horse immediately galloped and chased after the caravan. Chapter 257. In the dark night, the cold wind was bone-chilling. A black robe, long black hair, and a godly sword with a black scabbard was carried on his back. However, his eyebrows were white and they were like two swords. When his eyes were closed, there seemed to be sword rays flashing. The black-robed, white-browed, cold-looking man walked in the forest. 3 people followed behind him. 2 men and 1 woman. They all looked very young. Feng. The black-robed, white-browed, cold-looking man said. Among the 3 people, the smartest young man said respectfully, Master, you have been my disciple for 13 years. The black-robed, white-browed man said indifferently, however, your cultivation progress is too slow. You are one of the 3 disciples I have chosen. Your talent is 1 in a million, and you have the help of various spiritual treasures. However, until now, you have not stepped into the innate realm. The young man's expression changed greatly. He knelt down and said, Master, I am ashamed. He was the only one among the 3 disciples under his master who had not stepped into the innate realm. Logically, I should abolish your martial arts and expel you from the sect. Hearing his master's words, the young man was very nervous. He knew his master's strictness very well. I will give you a chance. The black-robed, white-browed man's expression did not change. 3 days ago, the caravan organized by the Hu Trading Company departed from the Huyue County City. They should arrive here tomorrow evening. I order you to sneak into the caravan as a merchant. Immediately, the black-robed, white-browed man took out a portrait and threw it to his disciple. The clever young man caught it and looked at the portrait carefully. The person in the portrait was very ordinary and seemed to be easy to get along with. This person is called Qinwei. He is also an idle merchant in this caravan. The black-robed, white-browed man said indifferently, however, that is only his disguise. His real identity is the Guiyuan sect's Ting Qingshan. Ting Qingshan? Not only the kneeling disciple, but also the other 2 disciples standing next to him were shocked. The 3 of them looked at the portrait carefully. Ting Qingshan was a legendary figure. Although these 3 people were also geniuses with the help of spiritual treasures and the guidance of a powerful master, they were very arrogant. However, they had to admire Ting Qingshan. 17 years old, true Dan innate expert. Just this alone was enough to make countless martial artists look up to him. From ancient times until now, the number of people who could compare to him could be counted on one hand. Now, Qinghu Island was chasing after him everywhere, and the 8 supreme sects were helping. But there was still no news of Ting Qingshan. His master knew? The 3 great disciples also knew how terrifying their master was. At the same time, they also understood how frightening the power behind their master was. Feng your mission is to wait for this Ting Qingshan to leave the caravan and enter the inn. Immediately report this to the people of Emperor Yu's Hall. The people of Emperor Yu's Hall will notify Qinghu Island, the white-browed man in the black cloak said. Although puzzled, the young man still replied respectfully, "Yes, master. Master." The only woman among the three stared at the white-browed man in the black cloak with a pair of captivating eyes. "We don't have any relationship with Ching-Hu Island. Why are we helping them?" "This is an order," the black-robed, white-browed man said coldly. Immediately, the three disciples did not dare to make a sound. The black-robed, white-browed man continued, "Feng this matter is of great importance. We cannot make any mistakes. Do not let Ting Qingshan find out. That Ting Qingshan is very good at hiding. Once he finds out, it will be very difficult to find him. If you complete this mission perfectly, I will allow you to practice the highest technique of my branch, the exquisite circular sword codex." The clever young man was overjoyed and hastily said, "Yes, master. This disciple swears to complete this mission with his life." Yuzhou was located in the center of the land of the 9 prefectures. It was also the capital of Emperor Yu. Normally, the people of Yuzhou, especially the people of Yuzhou City, had a special sense of pride. They were all proud of being the people of Yuzhou and looked down on the people of other prefectures. Within the territory of Yuzhou, goose feather-like snowflakes fluttered between the heavens and the earth. A large caravan was advancing in a grandiose manner. This was the caravan organized by the Hu Trading Company that left Huyue County of Qingzhou. However, the number of people in the caravan had already reached 900. Usually, there would be many idle merchants joining the caravan every time they passed by a city. At the same time, the caravan would also use the merchant's commission to hire some guards. "The snow is really heavy. I wonder when it will stop." A helpless voice came from the left side of Ting Qingshan. Ting Qingshan rode on the scarlet flame horse and advanced leisurely. His entire mind was immersed in the state of being one with the world. In this state of nurturing, his spirit grew like the grass that was being watered by the rain. "Qin, Qin." A shout came from the side. Ting Qingshan turned his head and looked. Beside him was a young man wearing a white leather coat and a leather hat. His pair of lively eyes made this young man look very clever. This young man's name was Sun Feng. He had joined the caravan on the 4th day after they left Huyue County. Sun Feng was very talkative. Sun Feng knew almost all of the idle merchants, including Ting Qingshan. According to Ting Qingshan's understanding, this was the first time Sun Feng had come out. Therefore, his old butler, Uncle Wu, had come along. "Brother Sunday," Ting Qingshan said with a smile, "the snow is so heavy. It's better not to talk too much and rest. You know me. I can't calm down." Sun Feng said with a smile, "I reckon that in another 10 years, I will be able to be like you, Qin. I will be able to ride for dozens of miles without saying a word." The old man beside Sun Feng said with a smile, "Brother Qin, my young master is always mischievous. You have to bear with him." "It's fine." Ting Qingshan smiled, "Brother Sun, you might not be tired from the journey, but I am. If you want to say something, then say it. I am listening." After saying this, Ting Qingshan looked ahead and leisurely rode on the horse. Sun Feng curled his lips and sighed in his heart. This is his temperament. He can sit on the horse for half a day without saying a word. If it wasn't for teacher, I wouldn't have thought that he was only 17 years old. The yearly sacrifice is coming soon. He will be 18 years old when the yearly sacrifice arrives. He is younger than me by more than 10 years. Ting Qingshan, I really don't want you to get into trouble, but the sect has given me an order. If I disobey it, you can live, but I will be finished. Sun Feng's expression was still the same. Although he was not as strong as his 2 brothers, he was much better at acting than them. 27th of the 12th month, Wu City, Yuzhou. On the official road, Ting Qingshan was still cultivating. For the current Ting Qingshan, it was necessary for him to cultivate every day. "Wu City is in front of us." Elder Zhou's voice resounded in the caravan. "We are only here for lunch, and then we will continue our journey. We will try to reach Yu City before the yearly sacrifice. This is the last city before Yu City. Who wants to leave the caravan in Wu City? Come and tell me. After lunch, we don't need to wait for you anymore. Immediately, many merchants called for their guards and rushed to where Elder Zhou was. Ting Qingshan also rode his horse and rushed over. The next city is Yu City. That is the lair of Emperor Yu's hall. There are many experts there. I will leave the caravan here. Ting Qingshan knew some things about the caravan. If he reached Yu City, he would definitely stay there for a few days. This was because every family would celebrate the new year a few days after the yearly sacrifice. Even the merchants would rest for a few days. This was the most important few days of the year. At that time, it would be almost impossible to find a caravan to depart from. Without a caravan, would he travel alone? That would be troublesome. How many days would he stay in Yu City? That place was filled with crooks and honest people. It was too chaotic. Wu City was a small city. It was at the same level as Yi City. It wasn't even a county city. There weren't many people here, and there were even fewer experts. Ting Qingshan felt relieved to stay here for a few days. Oh, Brother Qinwei, you are also stopping here? When Ting Qingshan walked over, Elder Zhou said in surprise, Aren't you going to Yanzhou? Isn't it better to follow us to Yu City? I still have things to do in Wu City. Ting Qingshan smiled and said. Elder Zhou didn't mind. He smiled and crossed Ting Qingshan's name off the list. Qin, you are also resting in Wu City? A voice came from behind. Ting Qingshan turned his head and looked. It was Sun Feng and his subordinate, Uncle Wu. Yes, you too? Ting Qingshan smiled and said. Sun Feng nodded and said, Yes, my father has an old friend in Wu City. Before I left, my father asked me to bring a gift to him. However, looking at the time, I will probably be spending the new year in Wu City this year. Soon, the caravan entered the city. A muscular man with a big beard greeted them. Brother Qinwei, Old Tan, Brother Sun. We all stopped in Wu City. There are only 12 of us. I will treat you. Give me some face and let's have lunch together. What do you think? Sure. Old Ho, you are straightforward. Sun Feng laughed and said. No one refused. Of course, Ting Qingshan followed them to a restaurant to have lunch. Idle merchants traveled around the world and earned money from life and death situations. Most of them were very straightforward. The lunch lasted for 1.5 hours. In the afternoon, the local man with the surname Ho personally found a nice inn for the few people who didn't have a place to stay. This place is quiet. Although the food can't be compared to the big restaurants, it's still not bad. The man with the surname Ho laughed and said, The yearly sacrifice will be held the day after tomorrow. My brothers have left their homes. Since we are together, we can have fun together. Come, give me a hand. The merchants began to move their goods one by one. They had to stay here for a few days. Some of them had to sell their goods to people who wanted to buy them. Of course, they would only feel safe if the goods were placed in their own rooms. Waiter, you have to look after our horses. We will still pay you. If we lose one of our horses, we will pay you. If one of the horses is gone, you will be in trouble. Ting Qingshan said with a smile. At the same time, he grabbed the rope and lifted the 2 boxes. Then, he walked towards the place where they were staying. Don't worry, master. One of the waiters smiled and shouted, It is impossible for the horses to be gone. They all had good eyesight. A superior horse like the Scarlet Flame horse was worth nearly 1,000 taels of silver. The waiters only earned a few dozen taels of silver a year. How could they afford it? So, of course, they had to take good care of it. When Ting Qingshan went up the stairs to the 2nd floor and put the 2 boxes into the room, he heard a voice. Uncle Wu, you stay here and take care of the goods. I will go visit Uncle. At this moment, Sun Feng was hugging a box as he walked out of the guest room and headed out. Chapter 258. In the mansion of the Lord of Wu City, the two guards at the entrance of the mansion would occasionally stomp their feet. It was really cold in the winter. Please help me inform the Lord that I want to see the Lord of the city. It's about Ting Qingshan. Sun Feng took out some silver from his pocket and quietly passed it to the guards. The eyes of the two guards brightened and they divided the silver in half. One of the guards smiled and said, Ting Qingshan? There are a lot of people who want to get rich now. A few days ago, someone said that Ting Qingshan was somewhere. After a little investigation, they found out that it was fake. But, for the sake of the silver, I will help you inform the Lord. You wait here. The guard was obviously in a good mood. He ran towards the mansion of the Lord. In a small city like Wu City, the guards were just strong and ordinary men. There weren't many powerful warriors. They would be very excited if they could get a few silver. After a while, the guard ran over and said with a smile, You are lucky. The Lord is free now, so he let you in. But remember, don't run around in the mansion. Follow me closely. The guard immediately led Sun Feng into the mansion of the Lord of Wu City. In the training hall of the Lord of Wu City's Lord's Mansion, a strong man with a face full of stubble, wearing a simple shirt, was waving the saber in his hand in the hall. His moves were simple, but each move was as fast as lightning. Phew! Phew! The sharp and powerful qi also left many grooves on the bluestone floor. Lord, he is here! The guard shouted from outside. The Lord of Wu City stopped practicing, turned his head and looked outside. He smiled and said, Come in. These days, everyone wants to find Ting Qingshan and earn that 1,000 gold. Just informing the Lord of the News was worth 1,000 gold. No wonder so many people wanted to find Ting Qingshan. The guard retreated and Sun Feng walked into the training hall. Good blade technique. Sun Feng praised. The wind created by the blade can leave grooves on the bluestone. With this blade technique, the Lord of Wu City, I'm afraid he can be listed in the Earth ranking. While speaking, Sun Feng's body flashed like a leaf. He floated across the air in a strange arc and stood 2 zhang away from the Lord of Wu City. The eyes of the Wu City's city lord brightened up and he said in surprise, Great movement technique. Sun Feng chuckled and said, This is the best I can do. The city lord of Wu City was a man with good eyesight. Based on his qin gong, he could tell that this clever kid in front of him was a master. These days, most of the people who made false reports were ordinary people. If they saw someone holding a silver spear, they would say that that person was Ting Qingshan. If they saw someone holding a big black axe, they would say that person was Ting Qingshan. The Lord City Lord was already very angry. However, most powerful experts would not be so bored. I won't hide it from you, City Lord. I'm actually doing a business that depends on everyone. Sun Feng chuckled. Godly thief? The Lord of the Wu City also laughed. A thief is a thief. When the City Lord called me a godly thief, my face became hot. Sun Feng laughed and said, It's like this. I have my eyes on a group of merchants. According to my investigation, one of them is a merchant who traveled from Yangzhou to Yenzhou. His name is Qin Wei. This kind of merchant who traveled so far must be doing big business. Therefore, I wanted to make some money from him. Today, when that group of people just settled down, I took the opportunity when Qin Wei went to the toilet and entered his room. I opened his cargo box. Sun Feng laughed. Actually, he had prepared this lie. Moreover, on the back of the portrait that his teacher gave him, there was a picture of a suitcase. In the compartment of the suitcase, there was the reincarnation spear and the splitting mountain axe. The eyes of the Wu City's city lord brightened up when he heard this. There were only some tea bricks in the cargo box. However, there was a suitcase in one of the 2 big cargo boxes. When I opened the suitcase, I didn't see anything special. Who am I? I have seen all kinds of methods to hide treasures. I easily found a hidden compartment in the suitcase. I was shocked to find that there were 2 parts of a spear and a black axe. Sun Feng said. The Wu City's city lord was shocked when he heard this. Really? The Wu City's city lord couldn't believe it. Of course, do you think I'm bored? Sun Feng laughed and said, I was prepared to make a move, so I had already checked the caravan. That Qin Wei came from Yangzhou to Huyue County City in Qingzhou. After that, he joined the caravan of Hu's trading company and arrived at Wu City in Yuzhou. I think it is most likely Ting Qingshan. When the Wu City's city lord heard this, he started to believe it. Firstly, Sun Feng's identity was an expert and a godly thief. This kind of expert wouldn't be so blind to waste time. Secondly, Sun Feng said that Qin Wei came all the way from Yangzhou. Haha, I still don't know who you are? The Wu City's city lord said. My name is Yan Feng. Sun Feng said. Oh, brother Yan Feng, can you stay at my place temporarily? After a few days, I will pay you 1,000 taels of gold after confirming that it is Ting Qingshan. The Wu City's city lord said. Sun Feng laughed and said, If the city lord doesn't mind, I will be happy to stay. If I don't take away that 1,000 taels of gold, I won't be satisfied. The city lord of the Wu City heard this, and he felt even more confident. The fact that the other party was able to stay behind made it even more believable. Immediately, the city lord of Wu City ordered people to make arrangements for Yan Feng. Then, he himself immediately sent a messenger pigeon to Emperor Yu's hall. Wu City was very close to the imperial city, Yu City. The news naturally reached Emperor Yu's hall very quickly. The royal city, Yu City. In the center of Yu City, there was a palace that occupied an extremely large area. This was Emperor Yu's palace, the lair of Emperor Yu's hall. Emperor Yu's hall, 9 Cauldrons Palace. The pitch-black chairs were arranged in an orderly manner. The top experts of Emperor Yu's hall entered the 9 Cauldrons Palace one after another. These experts discussed with each other. Only when the black-haired man, who wore a long black cloak inlaid with gold, entered the 9 Cauldrons Palace did everyone quiet down. Sect Master. Everyone greeted respectfully. The sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall scanned the crowd with his deep eyes, which had a faint halo circulating around them. He smiled and said, Everyone is confused. Why did I gather everyone in such a hurry? This was a small matter, because it was just a Ting Qingshan. But this matter was also a big matter, because it involved the personal weapon of Emperor Yu's hall's martial ancestor. Immediately there was an uproar. Martial ancestor Emperor Yu's splitting mountain axe? Could it be that Ting Qingshan was found? The sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall calmly stretched out his hand and pressed down slightly. Immediately everyone quieted down. He continued, The news came from Wu City in the south. The city lord of Wu City said that a godly thief was stealing from a merchant who was traveling alone. In the secret compartment of his suitcase, he found 2 parts of a spear and a black axe. This merchant was called Qin Wei. He departed from Yangzhou and arrived at the county city of Huyue County in Qingzhou. Then, he changed to another caravan and finally arrived at Wu City in Yuzhou. The sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall looked at the crowd and said, Everyone, tell me, what is the possibility that this person is Ting Qingshan? Sovereign, there are rumors everywhere that Ting Qingshan was found. However, there is no one who found it. This rumor is most likely fake. Not necessarily. Since he was called a godly thief, he must have some ability. This kind of person wouldn't lie. What's the rush? Let's wait until we find Ting Qingshan. Even if we go now, it would be a waste of time. In the 9 Cauldron Palace, the higher-ups of Emperor Yu's hall had different opinions. The county city of Huyue County? Suddenly, the silver-haired skinny elder who was sitting at the front frowned and said, According to what I know, half a month ago, the entire county city of Huyue County was trying to arrest people. At the same time, they were searching for Ting Qingshan. It was such a big commotion. I guess Xiao Yao Palace and Qing, Hu Island found out that Ting Qingshan was in the county city of Huyue County at that time. As soon as this was said, there were more people who believed that this was true. That's possible. That Qin Wei might be Ting Qingshan. Sovereign, didn't you say that Qin Wei came from Yangzhou? Ting Qingshan is also in Yangzhou? Obviously, the majority of people believe this. A smile appeared on the face of the sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall. According to the information from the Lord of Wu City, the godly thief's Qin Gong is extremely high. He is one of the best among the post-liminary experts. Moreover, he is now living in the mansion of the Lord of Wu City. In addition to the information we received, I think that Qin Wei is 90% likely to be Ting Qingshan. I think that if that black axe was obtained from Emperor Yu's treasure, it should be the Splitting Mountain axe. Everyone, do you think we should take it or not? The sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall said. Of course we should take it. A tall and strong man wearing a black cloak suddenly stood up and said loudly, "This Splitting Mountain axe is Ancestor Emperor Yu's personal weapon. It should belong to our Emperor Yu's hall. In this world, no one is more qualified than our Emperor Yu's hall." Yes, the Splitting Mountain axe must be taken back. Many people shouted. A hunchbacked old woman said, "Everyone, Martial Ancestor Emperor Yu has ordered us not to dig Emperor Yu's treasure. It belongs to the Fated One. Moreover, no matter how powerful the Splitting Mountain axe is, it is just an axe. It has no use. Why bother? Moreover, we don't know if it is the Splitting Mountain axe." Senior Martial Sister, you are wrong. The skinny old man glared and said, "Ancestor Emperor, you only ordered us not to dig. But now, the treasure has been found. The other sects are fighting for the elixir of the North Sea, but we didn't go. Now we are just taking back the personal weapon of the ancestor. What's wrong with that?" The old woman smiled and said, "Junior Martial brother, you mean that we should kill Ting Qingshan and take the godly axe? We are not just working for Qing Hu Island for no reason. We don't kill Ting Qingshan. We just force him to hand it over." The skinny old man said, "If we don't kill him, he won't escape? If he escapes this time, it will be hard to find him next time." The old woman smiled and said, "Although we don't care about Qing Hu Island has suffered a great loss this time. We don't need to offend the Blind Sword Master." The Blind Sword Master? The people of Emperor Yu's hall quieted down. In terms of post-liminary experts and innate experts, Emperor Yu's hall was superior to Qing Hu Island. Emperor Yu's hall also had Emptiness Realm experts. However, the Blind Sword Master had attacked a few times. All the supreme sects had already determined that the Blind Sword Master had reached the culmination of the Emptiness Realm. It could be said that he was one of the most terrifying figures in the land of the 9 prefectures. Moreover, the Blind Sword Master's sword art was extremely powerful and terrifying. Although Emperor Yu's hall, Qin clan, and Mani Temple weren't afraid of him, no one was willing to offend the Blind Sword Master. How about this? Ting Qingshan is currently in Wu City. He won't be leaving for a while. Send a message to Qing Hu Island. I believe that their men will arrive at Wu City before dawn tomorrow. At that time, the people of Emperor Yu's hall will watch and let Qing Hu Island kill Ting Qingshan. As for the Splitting Mountain axe, if Emperor Yu's hall takes it, Qing Hu Island won't dare to say anything. The sovereign of Emperor Yu's hall made a decision. Chapter 259. Late at night, on the vast and cold Qing Lake, a boat broke through the waves like an arrow released from a bow. On the boat, a middle-aged man with disheveled hair, wearing a tattered cotton-padded jacket, emitted the radiance of the innate true origin and struck the lake water. This caused the boat to advance rapidly. There was another person on the boat. He wore a green robe with black stripes and carried a long sword on his back. He had silver hair and was as handsome as a young man. It was Zhao Danshan. Beside him was a majestic black demonic horse. After a while, the boat arrived on the shore. Elder Zhao. The boatman was wearing tattered clothes and had an ordinary face, but his voice was deep and deep. This time you are going to kill Ting Qingshan. I will obey martial ancestors' order and cannot go with you. However, Elder Zhao, you must capture Ting Qingshan alive. If you don't torture him to death, I won't be able to vent my anger. The boatman's eyes were like those of a vicious lion. Gu Yong, if I can capture Ting Qingshan alive, I will definitely do so. If I can't, I will kill him. Zhao Danshan nodded and said, however, Gu Yong, martial ancestor made you a boatman to train your mind. No one will blame you if you want to kill him. However, if you can't calm down and cultivate because of this hatred, that's a big mistake. I understand. The boatman said in a deep voice, I understand the principle, but it's too difficult to do it. I have been trying to make Qinghu Island stronger, but I became a sinner of Qinghu Island. I am a sinner, and my son Shiyu died. And the over 10,000 silver dragon soldiers all died. All died. Since this is the case, I must kill Ting Qingshan this time. Zhao Danshan sighed and said, Gu Yong, you are the most talented disciple in this generation of Qinghu Island. Martial ancestor is old. Qinghu Island has yet to produce a second emptiness realm expert. If martial ancestor reaches the end of his lifespan, if Qinghu Island does not have an emptiness realm expert, it will be the most terrifying crisis. The death of more than half of the innate experts was not as dangerous as the death of no emptiness realm expert. It must be passed down from generation to generation, and there must be emptiness realm experts in the sect. Grandmaster wants you to go to Edge of Sword Mountain to practice your sword and personally guide you. You are the one who has high hopes for you. As long as you reach the emptiness realm, you are the hero of Qinghu Island. The greatest hero. The future disciples will never forget you, Zhao Danshan said solemnly. The boatman was silent, but his eyes were bright. The lifespan of an emptiness realm expert was 500 years old. It was enough to ensure the prosperity of a sect for 300 to 400 years. As long as there were 3 or 4 emptiness realm experts in history, a sect would flourish for over 1,000 years. The ordinary disciples were the bricks and tiles, the innate experts were the pillars, and the emptiness realm experts were the foundation that supported the entire building. Without an emptiness realm expert, everything would be like a castle in the air. Who? Zhao Danshan rode on the dark demonic horse and squeezed the horse's abdomen. The dark demonic horse immediately let out a neigh and a black light flashed in its eyes. Xiao. The horse instantly transformed into a black afterimage and disappeared at the end of the road. Temperament. The boatman stood at the bow of the boat. He had heard that although Zhao Danshan lost his right arm and his left hand's strength was greatly reduced, this setback gave Zhao Danshan an epiphany. In just over a month, Zhao Danshan actually created a sword technique with his left hand based on the foundation of his original sword technique. Although it was only a short period of time, even if it couldn't be compared to before, he was confident that he could enter the top 20 of the heavenly ranking. Grandmaster wanted to break through, so he destroyed his eyes and sat on the edge of Sword Mountain every day. In the end, he achieved incredible strength. Elder Zhao also lost his right arm, but he still managed to break through. The boatman murmured. There were people who became stronger after they were crippled. However, it was extremely rare. Most of the crippled people, or even almost all of the crippled people, couldn't recover their strength to their previous state. Emptiness realm, the boatman murmured. At the same time, he moved the oars and the boat slowly rowed towards Qinghu Island. Late at night, Wu City, Yuzhou. In the inn that Ting Qingshan lived in the backyard of a restaurant across the street, there was a faint candlelight in one of the windows. Inside the room, the 3 people were all wearing white fur coat. One of them was a skinny silver-haired elder, the other was a tall and muscular man, and the last one was a beautiful young woman. The three people were sitting around a table. On the table, there were some delicacies and snacks. In front of each of them was a wine pot, and they were drinking by themselves. When will the men of Ching-Hu Island make their move? The young woman asked. The Golden Dan innate experts of Ching-Hu Island should arrive before dawn. The muscular man said in a deep voice, however, they definitely won't trust our men. Therefore, they will immediately dispatch the men of Ching-Hu Island to station in the counties around Wu City. Even with the fastest speed of messenger pigeons and the men stationed in the counties, the 3 dragon horses wouldn't be enough. If they want to rush over, they will have to wait until dawn. Therefore, they will probably make their move tomorrow morning. The skinny elder lowered his eyes and ate a piece of pastry. They will probably be ready tomorrow morning. They will make their move tomorrow afternoon or afternoon. Looks like we have to wait for one more day. The young woman said helplessly, actually, what's the big deal if we just kill Ting Qingshan? If word gets out, it won't be good. Emperor Yu's Hall will become the knife of Ching-Hu Island. The skinny elder sighed and said, although Ting Qingshan said he would leave the Guiyuan sect, everyone knows the truth. Ting Qingshan did that to protect the Guiyuan sect. The Guiyuan sect will probably value Ting Qingshan more. Don't forget that the Guiyuan sect also has an emptiness realm expert. Although we don't care, since there is no need to offend them. Why should we offend them? Emperor Yu's Hall has the longest history among the 8 supreme sects. We have always stood tall. We don't just rely on our martial strength. The other 2 nodded in agreement. Martial strength was important, but so was the behavior of the sect. Who in the land of the 9 prefectures dared to look down on Emperor Yu's Hall? Even the Mani Temple was afraid of the unfathomable Emperor Yu's Hall. However, the people of Emperor Yu's Hall were not arrogant and rarely offended people. However, if someone dared to offend them, they would mercilessly kill their opponent. If a sect was always arrogant, no matter how powerful it wouldn't be able to exist for long. Even the Mani Temple was in the 2 prefectures in the west and rarely left the 2 prefectures. Being soft on the outside but tough on the inside was the way of the king. Sovereign's idea is even better. We will let the men of Ching-Hu Island kill Ting Qingshan, and then we will take the Splitting Mountain Axe. The Splitting Mountain Axe was originally the martial ancestor Emperor Yu's personal item. We are in the right. The skinny elder smiled and said, being in the right is great. By then, would Ching-Hu Island dare to take the Splitting Mountain Axe for themselves? The men of Emperor Yu's Hall had already set up an inescapable trap and were waiting for the men of Ching-Hu Island to make their move. However, Ting Qingshan didn't know at all. The night was long. In the inn, tap, 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 Ting Qingshan walked down the stairs step by step. The waiter standing behind the counter, who was on night duty, welcomed him with a smile. Sir, what would you like to eat? Give me a jug of wine, fiery wine. Put it on the bill. Ting Qingshan ordered. All right, sir. The waiter immediately took out a jug of fiery wine. Although Ting Qingshan went downstairs, Ting Qingshan wasn't worried about the boxes of goods and luggage in the room. This was because Ting Qingshan had set a small mechanism in the boxes of goods and luggage. Once the boxes were opened, the bells in the boxes would ring. As long as one was in the inn, Ting Qingshan's 6 senses would be able to detect it easily. Carrying the jug of wine, Ting Qingshan went upstairs and returned to his room. Creak. The door closed. There was no light in the room. It was pitch black and slightly cold. Ting Qingshan carried the jug of wine and walked to the window and opened it. Phew! The cold winter wind blew on his body, but Ting Qingshan didn't seem to feel it. He sat on the window and lazily leaned against the wall with one leg on the window. The yearly sacrifice is coming soon. Father, mother. Every festive season, one would think of one's loved ones even more. Since the yearly sacrifice was approaching, Ting Qingshan couldn't help but think of his loved ones in Yangzhou. There were his parents, his younger sister, his teacher, his good brothers, and many other clansmen. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with them now. He could only be alone in a small city in Yuzhou, Wu City. Little Yu and little Yun should be getting married soon. A smile appeared on Ting Qingshan's face. When they get married and have children, father and mother can take care of their children. They will definitely be very happy. Ting Qingshan imagined, my clansmen are already in Jiangning County City. Ting Qingshan imagined, the clansmen are already in Jiangning County City. I also gave grandfather the scarlet fruit wine and 100,000 taels of gold. I also gave grandfather the scarlet fruit wine and 100,000 taels of gold. The yearly sacrifice is coming. The 6-year-old children in the clan are going to be tested again. It was time for the annual sacrifice. The 6-year-old children in the clan were going to be tested again. I wonder, among the 6-year-old children this year, what's the heaviest weight they can lift? Scenes of the past appeared in his mind. In Tingjia village, there were people who lifted a stone block that weighed 100 jin when they were 6 years old. There were also people who led the hunting team to hunt and received cheers from the villagers when they returned. There were also people who, under the threat of the Iron Mountain Gang, secretly intimidated the second leader of the Iron Mountain Gang, causing him to retreat on his own. Those scenes were very heartwarming. When the day comes that I succeed, I will willingly stay in the clan. Or I can stay in the Guiyuan sect and guide the younger generation, Ting Qingshan said to himself. But it's too far. The current me is too far away. A face involuntarily appeared in Ting Qingshan's mind. Qingqing. Ting Qingshan felt a stabbing pain in his heart. That was a pure girl without any impurities, a girl like a banished fairy. Kitten. The strong and cold female assassin who roamed the world with him, the woman who only knew how to be gentle in his arms, the woman he loved for his whole life. Qingqing, Kitten. He wanted to spend the rest of his life with these two women. But they were both dead. Maybe I shouldn't have fallen in love. Ting Qingshan raised his head and directly poured the strong wine in the jug into his mouth. The fiery wine was like a fire dragon entering his throat, immediately causing his whole chest to feel hot. The cold night, the hot wine, and the lonely heart. Scenes of Kitten and Qingqing appeared in his mind. There were scenes of him experiencing life and death with Kitten, and warm scenes of him crossing the boat with Qingqing in the night. Ting Qingshan also continuously drank. He didn't know when the wine jug was empty. Ting Qingshan closed the window, returned to the room, and put the wine jug on the table. Just now I was dispirited for a while. Ting Qingshan took a deep breath, his eyes deep. I shouldn't be dispirited now, and I don't have the qualifications to waste time in dispirited. I still have to go back to Yangzhou, back to Jiangning. Only when you have absolute strength can you go back openly. When he was in the caravan, Ting Qingshan's face was full of smiles. He could joke with others and tell dirty jokes. He seemed to be very forthright because he was a wolf. A wolf. He would be angry, and once he really went crazy, he would risk his life to kill the enemy. When the difference in strength was too big, he would endure, and when he was strong enough, he would give the enemy a ruthless bite. Even if he was injured, he would look for a place where no one was around to lick his wound. He didn't need others to pity him. This was a wolf. The best way to eliminate dispirited, sad, and worried is to make myself busy, so that I don't have time to think. Ting Qingshan closed his eyes and murmured, beginning to calm his mind. This night Ting Qingshan spent the night practicing the 3 postures and meditating. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.